Chapter 176, Who Dares to Come to the Su Family to Cause Trouble? 1. Soon, 3 old men and the numerous spiritual beasts worked together to kill the enemy's spiritual supremacies instantly, and there weren't even any corpses left. Old man, how did you meet the men in black? Did the matter with the Fu family not succeed? Leng Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. It was a success. After we gained control of the Fu family, we somehow alerted these men in black. We didn't even know where they came from before we started fighting. Fortunately, you came in time, or the news would have definitely leaked, the old man said worriedly. How dangerous. We also encountered men in black. Leng Qingtian looked at the old man sympathetically. You encountered them too? Then you're really fast, the old man said enviously. He was the only spiritual supremacy on his side, and he had to take care of Li Yuan, so fighting had been a little difficult. We didn't meet as many men in black as you, Lin Liang explained. Actually, we once killed a man in black before the academy competition. Leng Ruoxue glanced at them and explained to them about the encounter with the man in black that day. Does this mean that these men in black have been sneaking into the Eastern Lagoon Empire for some time? It's just that we didn't realize it all along, the old man said worriedly. Although these men in black were death warriors, they had their own thoughts, so they were difficult to deal with. I think these people are here to deal with me, but they treated the residences of the Fu and Qin families as temporary accommodations, Leng Ruoxue analyzed. It seemed like she needed to go to the Southern Dusk Empire again. Then the Mo family, the old man looked at Mo Ingyue and stopped speaking. Leng Ruoxue frowned and guessed after thinking, not at the Mo family. I guess they don't trust the Mo family yet. Everyone nodded in agreement. Everyone, tonight's business is over. Let's go back first. Leng Qingtian said when he saw that it was almost dawn. Let's go back. Then everyone left the Fu family mansion. After returning to the general's mansion, Leng Ruoxue and the others went straight to their rooms to rest. After waking up the next morning, Leng Ruoxue went to look for her grandfather. She discussed the matter with him in detail and then went to the Southern Dusk Empire with Freak. After they arrived at the Southern Dusk Empire, Leng Ruoxue and Freak went straight to the palace to meet the emperor. In the imperial study. Sitting on the dragon throne, Huang Fuzhen was deep in thought about what Leng Ruoxue just said. The empress was sitting next to him, also deep in thought. Meanwhile, after Leng Ruoxue and Freak finished speaking, they were resting on chairs while having tea and snacks. Ruoxue, have you settled everything in the Eastern Lagoon Empire? Huang Fuzhen asked with a frown after some thought. The Eastern Lagoon Empire really acted fast. Yes, that's why I came specially to help you, Leng Ruoxue said after taking a sip of tea. If not for the appearance of the men in black, she probably wouldn't have thought of coming to the Southern Dusk Empire to help them. Then when do we start? Huang Fuzhen asked. He had endured the Su family for many years and had long wanted to take action. But he didn't dare to act rashly before he was absolutely confident. The day after tomorrow. I want to visit the Hu family tomorrow, Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. There had been no news from the Hu family since she sent the news out, so she wanted to confirm it in person. It would be best if she could rope the Hu family in. But if the Hu family wanted to become enemies with her, she didn't care. Okay, the day after tomorrow then. I'll get someone to arrange a place for you to stay, Huang Fuzhen said warmly. The matter that had been weighing on his mind for so many years was about to be resolved, and he felt much more relaxed. Thank you for your kind intentions, Your Majesty. Our current inn is fine, Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. She was afraid that the news would leak if she stayed in the palace. What if the Su family's spies found out? Wouldn't the Su family be on their guard? Your Majesty, we will take our leave first, Leng Ruoxue continued and then left the imperial palace with Freak. After returning to the inn, Freak followed Leng Ruoxue directly into her room. Shuer, are we really going to the Hu family tomorrow? He couldn't help asking after they sat down. He didn't want to go to the Hu family. What do you mean by that? We will save a lot of effort if we can pull them to our side. They are the first great family, and their strength can't be underestimated after all, Leng Ruoxue explained. But, Freak was very unwilling. Why? Are you still thinking about what happened last time? No one knows that we did it. What are you afraid of? Leng Ruoxue teased softly. Freak is really too cute. I'm not afraid. Freak quickly denied with a slightly awkward expression. How could he be afraid of such a small thing? He just didn't want to have anything to do with the Hua family. That damn Hua Qing was always eyeing his schwer so covetously. Since you're not afraid, rest early today. Well, go see the Hua family tomorrow morning. Leng Ruoxue didn't expose him. She only smiled slightly and struck while the iron was hot. Freak nodded and then returned to his room to rest very consciously. The next morning, Leng Ruoxue woke up, washed up, and went to find Freak. After breakfast, they went straight to the Hua family's main residence. In the main hall of the Hua family residence, Hua Yi sat on the patriarch's seat, and the elders of the Hua family sat on both sides of him. Patriarch, it's best for us to decide early on this matter, the first elder sitting below Hua Yi urged anxiously. If they waited for the Su family to finish making preparations, it would probably be difficult to deal with them. Yes. First elder is right, one of the elders echoed. Patriarch, I think it's best for our 4 families to discuss this together. Otherwise, if we're the only ones standing against the Su family, and both our families suffer an internecine outcome, wouldn't it be letting others benefit? Another elder said in disapproval. Sitting in the main seat, Hua Yi did not say a word and listened to the elders' discussion expressionlessly. The Hua family could now be said to be divided into 2 factions because of this matter. One faction was led by the first elder and was in favor of striking first to gain the upper hand. The other faction was led by his younger brother and didn't agree to deal with the Su family now. Chapter 177, Who dares to come to the Su family to cause trouble? 2. Patriarch, Leng Ruoxue wants to see you. A servant walked in to report. Leng Ruoxue. What is she doing here? An elder murmured. Invite her in. Hua Yi ordered coldly. Yes, Patriarch. The servant left the hall. Hello, Patriarch Hua, Leng Ruoxue said courteously as she walked into the meeting hall under the servant's lead. Hua Yi nodded and said very politely, Miss Leng, long time no see. Please have a seat. Miss Leng, may I know what brings you here? The first elder couldn't help asking curiously. He had a very good impression of Leng Ruoxue and had always hoped that the Hua family would have a mistress like her. Unfortunately, she wasn't interested in their young master. Alas! What a pity. I'm here about the Su family. Leng Ruoxue cut straight to the chase and observed the reactions of the people sitting. The Su family. The elders exchanged glances, but no one spoke. They were all waiting for her to continue. Leng Ruoxue glanced coldly at Hua Yi and the elders sitting there and cursed in her heart. What cunning old foxes. She then continued, I want to deal with the Su family. I wonder if the Hua family has any intentions of cooperating. What can you offer for this cooperation with our Hua family? We are the first great family on the Ling Feng continent, an elder took the lead to say. Apart from being the first great family, how many spiritual supremacies does your Hua family have now? Leng Ruoxue asked instead of answering. To be honest, others might care about the Hua family's status, but she didn't care at all. After all, she just needed to bring out one divine beast casually, and it would be enough to cause the Hua family no small amount of trouble. The elder fell silent. There were 2 spiritual supremacies in the Hua family, but only the patriarch of the Hua family was at home. The other, the former patriarch of the Hua family, had long since disappeared. I'm here to cooperate with you with sincerity. I don't care if you don't cooperate with me because of your high status. But I have to say this first. If we cooperate now, our relationship will be equal. But if you want to cooperate with me in the future, that may not be the case, Leng Ruoxue said half seriously, half threateningly. The best way to deal with such self-important families was to crush them with imposing manner. Miss Leng, you want to cooperate with us to deal with the Su family, and the Su family wants to cooperate with us to deal with you. The Su family's offer is very generous. I wonder what conditions you will offer, another elder, who was very calculative, said. I will not make any offers. I don't care if you want to cooperate with the Su family to deal with me. I just hope that you won't regret it later. Leng Ruoxu's cold eyes glanced at the elder who spoke just now, then looked around at the other elders with a smile that was not a smile, and finally looked at Hua Yi. After staring at Hua Yi for a few seconds, Leng Ruoxue averted her gaze and turned to Freak. Since the Hua family isn't sincere in cooperating, let's not waste time. Let's go. Freak said expressionlessly and stood up. Hey, Miss Leng. Seeing that Leng Ruoxue and Yichen really left, the first elder glanced at Hua Yi, then stood up and chased after them. Miss Leng. The first elder caught up with Leng Ruoxue and looked at them apologetically. What's the matter, first elder? Leng Ruoxue asked with a smile. I hope you don't mind what happened just now, the first elder said awkwardly. He never knew that a little girl could make him feel so stressed. First elder, I'm very petty. Since the Hua family looks down on me and isn't willing to cooperate with me, then forget it, Leng Ruoxue said indifferently. But she knew that the Hua family probably wouldn't cooperate with the Su family. Plotting with the Su family for benefits was definitely a dead end. Hua Yi wasn't that stupid. After saying what she wanted to say, Leng Ruoxue and Freak left the Hua family's main residence under the first elder's helpless gaze. Swear, this Hua family really doesn't know what's good for them. They will regret it in the future, Freak said indignantly on the way back to the inn. Freak, I'm not angry. You don't have to console me like this, Leng Ruoxue said, a little touched. Hee, it's good that you're not angry. Freak smiled, not caring that Shuer had seen through him. Shuer's understanding of me is getting better and better. After watching Leng Ruoxue and Yichen leave, the first elder returned to the meeting hall. Patriarch, are we really not choosing to cooperate with Leng Ruoxue? The first elder asked directly after sitting down in his seat. First elder, Leng Ruoxue is just a little girl. What qualifications does an ignorant little child have to cooperate with our Hua family? An elder said disdainfully. Ignorant little child? Ninth elder, I'm afraid you're not Leng Ruoxue's opponent with your strength, the first elder berated while looking coldly at the ninth elder. These people of the Hua family had always been high and mighty for many years. They thought highly of themselves and looked down on others. How is this possible? I'm a peak spiritual sovereign, the ninth elder roared in disbelief. Wasn't the first elder exaggerating a little too much? You can choose not to believe. The first elder didn't bother to talk nonsense with them. Instead, he stared at Hua Yi and waited for the patriarch to decide. Let's wait and see first. Hua Yi slowly spat out these words. The Su family and Leng Ruoxue would have to face each other sooner or later, so he didn't intend to participate in their battle for the time being. To put it plainly, he wanted to be the fisherman that benefited from the fight. But he would find out later that fishing for benefits from Leng Ruoxue wasn't a good idea. After returning to the inn, Leng Ruoxue and Freak formulated a detailed plan to ensure that nothing would go wrong. The next day, Leng Ruoxue and Freak went to the imperial palace and met up with Huang Fuzhen, ready to attack at any moment as promised. Huang Fuzhen looked at the time and said to Leng Ruoxue, let's do it. Leng Ruoxue nodded. You'll take care of Su Lianer. Leave the men in black to us. Chapter 178, Who Dares to Come to the Su Family to Cause Trouble? 3. Quill, rise, you must guard the entire imperial palace, Leng Ruoxue ordered her beasts. Master, don't worry. Nothing will be able to get through us, Rise, who wrapped himself as a bracelet around Leng Ruoxue's snow-white wrist, promised. After arranging everything, Leng Ruoxue and Huang Fuzhen went to the Phoenix Dwell Palace where Su Lianer lived. After entering the inner hall of the Phoenix Dwell Palace, Leng Ruoxue and the others couldn't help feeling a little awkward because Su Lianer was sitting on a man with her clothes all over the place. Su Lianer, who had been confined in her palace, was stunned when she suddenly saw so many people appear together. But she quickly recovered and hurriedly knelt on the ground. "Your Majesty." Su Lianer knelt while quickly sorting out her disheveled clothes with her hands. She seemed to be terrified in her heart, and her face was pitiful. She didn't expect the emperor to come suddenly and see such an inelegant side of her. "Your Majesty, it seems noble consort Su is unwilling to be lonely and had an affair," Leng Ruoxue said mockingly while glancing at Su Lianer and the man beside her. Sure enough, it was another man who resembled her father. "Leng Ruoxue, it's you again." As soon as Su Lianer saw Leng Ruoxue, intense hatred burst out of her eyes. Whenever she saw Leng Ruoxue, she would think of that slut who robbed her love. She really couldn't understand how she couldn't compare to that woman who had nothing. Why? Why couldn't she obtain the heart of the man she loved? "Do you hate my mother?" Leng Ruoxue asked indifferently. Women who hated each other for love could do anything, and Su Lianer just happened to be such a vicious woman. "Yes, I hate her and wanted her dead. But why didn't only she die? Why?" Su Lianer roared out of control with a hideous face. Back then, she had racked her brains to trick the Leng Lai couple into coming to the Southern Dusk Empire. She originally wanted to get rid of that slut, but she didn't expect to accidentally kill the man she loved. Because she had the protection of the man she loved, Leng Ruoxue reminded very kindly. "No. Brother Lai didn't love her at all. He loved me." Su Lianer seemed to be falling into her own memories crazily, and the past became her nightmare. "Do you think we'll let you go just because you pretend to be crazy?" Leng Ruoxue coldly exposed her. This woman was really too scheming, and leaving her alive would definitely cause a disaster. "I can't believe I didn't trick you. Tell me. What do you want to do to me?" Su Lianer stood up from the ground arrogantly. Her terrified and pitiful appearance from before was nowhere to be seen. Since they already saw through her, she might as well stop pretending. She was a precious daughter of the Su family, so she didn't believe that the emperor would dare to kill her. "Your Majesty, I really pity you," Leng Ruoxue suddenly said while looking at Huang Fuzhen. "She has nothing to do with me," Huang Fuzhen said indifferently, without the slightest trace of anger from being cuckolded. "Your Majesty, you said it has nothing to do with you. Then where did our daughter come from?" Su Lianer provoked. She hated it when men tried to distance themselves from her. Was she a virus? "She's just a bastard." Huang Fuzhen's face was full of disgust. This woman was still acting at a time like this. How can you say that the daughter you've loved for 18 years is a bastard? You are really heartless. Su Lianer laughed, her face full of pride and flaunting. "I have never touched you. What is that daughter if not a bastard? I'm afraid you don't even know who her father is, do you?" Huang Fuzhen mocked disdainfully. All these years, he had been forcing himself to love this mother and daughter all for today. Today, he was going to avenge his grandfather. "No, how is this possible? I don't believe it." Su Lianer screamed in disbelief. "You have to believe it," Huang Fuzhen said coldly and ignored her. "Su Lianer, where are the people you sent to kill my parents now?" Leng Ruoxue asked. Although Su Lianer was the mastermind, she didn't intend to let the murderers go either. "Do you think I will tell you? You will never know." "Ha!" Su Lianer laughed hysterically, but her heart was extremely miserable. "Ruoxue, she probably killed those people long ago. Don't underestimate this woman's obsession with your father," Huang Fuzhen quickly said, afraid that Leng Ruoxue would be affected by Su Lianer. "Su Lianer, where are your people?" Leng Ruoxue nodded and asked lightly. It made no difference to her whether Su Lianer said it or not. She wouldn't let anyone from the Su family go anyway. "Your Majesty, do you really want to kill me?" Su Lianer looked at Huang Fuzhen with gentle eyes. Is there any question about this? Huang Fuzhen asked with a look of disgust on his face. You will regret it. Ha! Su Lianer waved her hand, and a group of men in black emerged from all directions and surrounded Leng Ruoxue and the others. Leng Ruoxue narrowed her beautiful eyes, which released an icy cold glare and murderous intent. Finally out. She was really afraid that these people would hide in the corner and not come out. Otherwise, why would she talk so much nonsense with Su Lianer? Leng Ruoxue, don't worry. I will leave your corpse intact for the sake of Brother Lai, Su Lianer said very kindly, as if she had given Leng Ruoxue a great favor. Thank you, but I don't need it. I'll leave it to you. After speaking, Leng Ruoxue took out her sword and directly stabbed at the nearest few men in black. Wherever the sword energy went, fiery red spiritual power followed closely. The momentum was surging, and the cold air was threatening. Wherever the sword reached, countless men in black died or were injured. Seeing Leng Ruoxue attack without hesitation, Huang Fuzhen also drew his sword and stabbed at Su Lianer. But the man beside Su Lianer blocked it, causing him to miss. After Leng Ruoxue and Freak quickly dealt with all the men in black outside the hall, they returned to the inner hall and saw Huang Fuzhen and the others still fighting with the men in black in the hall, while Su Lianer stood by and watched coldly. Freak, go help them. Chapter 179, Who Dares to Come to the Su Family to Cause Trouble? 4. After speaking to Freak, Leng Ruoxue walked directly to Su Lianer's side and captured her in her hand. Leng Ruoxue, let go of me, or you will regret it. Su Lianer struggled for a while and threatened when she saw that she couldn't break free. I'll regret it if I let you go. Leng Ruoxue took out a pill and stuffed it into Su Lianer's mouth. Cough cough. What did you feed me? Su Lianer asked in fright. Of course it's poison. Do you think I'll let you die so easily? How dare you? I am the eldest daughter of the Su family. How dare you? Su Lianer roared in disbelief. Leng Ruoxue was really too daring to treat her like this. Humph. I won't let her go. The eldest daughter of the Su family? I'm so scared. Leng Ruoxue directly knocked Su Lianer unconscious. Humph. I'm too lazy to listen to her rubbish. With Freak's help, Huang Fuzhen and the others quickly got rid of the men in black in the inner hall. Ruoxue, everyone is dead except for Su Lianer, Huang Fuzhen said to Leng Ruoxue after sending people to check. Leng Ruoxue nodded. With Quill around, no one could escape within a radius of 10,000 meters. Your Majesty, we will take our leave now that everything is settled. Leng Ruoxue motioned for Freak to carry Su Lianer. After speaking to Huang Fuzhen, the two jumped onto Quill's back and left the Southern Dusk Empire. At the general's mansion, Leng Qingtian was speechless as he looked at Su Lianer hanging in the air tied up with a rope. Did they drag Su Lianer back like this all the way? Leng Qingtian thought curiously. Grandpa, it's what you think. Leng Ruoxue saw through her grandfather's thoughts. Alas! There was no choice. Quill was unwilling to carry Su Lianer, and Freak was also unwilling to carry her all the time. Moreover, it was impossible for her to put Su Lianer in the heaven and earth bracelet, so she could only hang her and bring her back like this. Schwer, since you've brought her back, what are you going to do with her? Leng Qingtian asked curiously. This woman was too evil, and she had torn apart their Leng family, so he absolutely hated her to the core and didn't want her to die so easily. Grandpa, you can do whatever you want with her as long as you don't kill her, Leng Ruoxue said understandingly. She knew how her grandfather felt, so she would absolutely support him unconditionally no matter what he wanted to do. Okay, leave this woman to Grandpa. Leng Qingtian said happily. He had many ways to torture people, so he would definitely treat her well. Grandpa, have fun. Freak and I will go back to our rooms to rest. Leng Ruoxue yawned. She hadn't had a good night's sleep for several days and was very tired. Okay, go and rest, Leng Qingtian said quickly. After returning to her room, Leng Ruoxue went directly into the heaven and earth bracelet to rest. The spiritual energy inside was rich, and she could rest while cultivating. When Leng Ruoxue left the heaven and earth bracelet after resting enough, 2 days had passed. "Shuer, you're so good at sleeping." Leng Qingtian teased his granddaughter when he saw her enter the dining room. He knew that she might stay in the bracelet, so he didn't let anyone disturb her. "Grandpa, I'm so tired." Leng Ruoxue sat down with an innocent face. Alas! Since Fengde and the others left Phoenix City, the mansion had become deserted. She didn't know what was happening with them. A few days ago, after Leng Ruoxue decided to sever the Su family's arm first, she asked the Feng family's first elder to arrange for people to go to the Northern Frost Empire while she sent Fengde and the others to the Central Universe Empire. "After we settle the Su family, we'll let you have a good rest," Leng Qingtian said tenderly. "Grandpa, how's Li Yuan?" Leng Ruoxue asked with concern as she picked up a piece of dessert. "He's fine now." "But Shuer, you really gave a lot this time," Leng Qingtian said with some heartache. He didn't expect Shuer to be willing to give so many green spirit pills to old Lin and the old patriarch all at once. During critical times, strength is the most important. Moreover, green spirit pills are nothing to me. Since they were allies, Leng Ruoxue naturally couldn't be too stingy. Otherwise, her allies would only drag her down if they were too weak. "That's true. Shuer, do you think Grandpa should also get a few level 9 holy beasts?" Leng Qingtian couldn't help asking. He only had one divine beast. Old Lin was originally very envious, but now that old fellow's holy beast had also advanced, and he actually had 2 divine beasts. Boo-hoo. "Grandpa, you and Grandpa Lin aren't children anymore. How can you compare this kind of thing?" Leng Ruoxue said speechlessly. These 2 old men added together were almost 200 years old. When would they grow up? Grandpa just doesn't feel balanced. I don't want to compete with him. Really? Leng Qingtian quickly and cautiously expressed his opinion, for fear that his precious granddaughter would be angry. Leng Ruoxue deliberately paused and said, "Grandpa, wait until we meet a level holy beast, and he'll let you contract it." "Shuer, are you angry?" Leng Qingtian couldn't help asking. "That's a good thing. The stronger you are, the more at ease I will be." Leng Ruoxue was scared. She couldn't always protect her loved ones, so she wanted to improve their strength whenever she had the chance. This way, she would also be at ease even when she was not by their side. As for her brother, she would personally help her brother find the herbs after settling the Su family. "Shuer, Grandpa, let's do it when Fengde and the others have news." Leng Ruoxue interrupted. "Okay, let's get rid of the Su family as soon as possible. Then we can relax." The Su family was a big problem. The sooner they got rid of them, the better. 5 days later, the Feng family's first elder and Fengde sent a message back at the same time. It was settled. On the second day after the message came, Leng Ruoxue, the old man, Leng Qingtian, and others decided to go to the Su family's main residence in the Western Light Empire and eradicate the Su family in one fell swoop. After some discussion, they decided to let Lin Liang stay while the others went to the Western Light Empire. "Grandpa Lin, I'll leave this place to you." Leng Ruoxue smiled at Lin Liang. Chapter 180, Who Dares to Come to the Su family to Cause Trouble? 5. Don't worry. No one will have an opportunity to take advantage with me around, Lin Liang promised as he patted his chest. Leng Ruoxue nodded. She sat on Quill's back after everyone got on. "Quill, let's go." Leng Ruoxue ordered and waved at Lin Liang. "Yes, master." Quill flapped his huge wings, slowly rose into the sky, and disappeared into the horizon. On the way. "Little girl, your eagle is really good. He flies fast and steadily," the old man said with envy. He also wanted such an eye-catching flying spirit beast. "Old man, you already have so many spirit beasts. Aren't you satisfied? Cold sweat dripped down Leng Ruox's forehead. This old man is too greedy. How can humans be so easily satisfied? For spirit beasts, naturally the more powerful, the better, the old man said nonchalantly. Oh right, old man, tell me about the Su family's old patriarch. Leng Ruoxue asked after suddenly remembering. There was a spiritual supremacy old patriarch in each of the 5 great families and the imperial families. However, most of them would basically not take care of anything and would not appear unless there was something that would endanger the foundation of the family. That old thing isn't an old patriarch. His seniority is much lower than mine. The old man pursed his lips disdainfully. That old thing is very devious. He was the one who injured that old fellow of the Southern Dusk Empire. But his injuries were not light either. He's been hiding to recuperate for more than a decade. Little girl, do you know why the Su family was willing to compensate you with so many things before? The old man asked mysteriously. Why? Leng Ruoxue was curious. The Su family shouldn't be afraid of her family, right? The Su family had a spiritual supremacy. Of course, it's because. Forget it. I won't tell you first. You will know in the future. The old man paused to whet Leng Ruox's appetite and then decided not to say more. Damn old man, you tricked me. Leng Ruoxue said fiercely as she glared at the disrespectful old man. Hee, little girl, this old man just wants to ease the tense atmosphere. Everyone is too nervous, the old man said with a chuckle, not taking it seriously. Swear, the patriarch of the Su family is indeed very devious. We have to deal with him carefully, Leng Qingtian said seriously. If it hadn't been for Su Lianer's father's obstruction, he would have killed her long ago. Grandpa, we will succeed, Leng Ruoxue said confidently. They had so many divine beasts. If they couldn't defeat the Su family, they should just kill themselves. Master, I won't let your enemies go. The little black fox lying quietly in Leng Ruox's arms took the opportunity to express his attitude and tried to curry favor. Good. Leng Ruoxue caressed his soft fur. Master, there's still me, Rise also said hurriedly. You're all good. Swear, what about me? Freak, who had been acting as a cushion for Swear, also stuck his head out. You're good too, Leng Ruoxue coaxed as she caressed Freak's head like she was petting it. Your house must be very lively, the old man said to Leng Qingtian with a chuckle as he watched the competition for favor. This isn't the most lively time yet. Leng Qingtian sighed. His granddaughter was so popular. They chatted and laughed along the way. After flying for 4 days, Leng Ruoxue and the others entered the borders of the Western Light Empire. The Su family's main residence was in Salt City, the capital of the Western Light Empire. It was in the afternoon when they entered Salt City. But Leng Ruoxue and the others didn't look for an inn in the city but set up tents on the outskirts of Salt City. After dinner, everyone went into their tents to rest. After a good rest, it was already nighttime. Little girl, let's go, the old man said impatiently. His target today was that old thing from the Su family. Leng Ruoxue looked at the sky and nodded. Let's go. On Quill's back, they soon arrived at the Su family's main residence. Ling, call the Su family out. Leng Ruoxue ordered lightly. She didn't want to deal with the Su family in secret anymore because she came specially to cause a scene today. The fate of the Su family was destined. Yes, master. Rise, who was coiled around Leng Ruox's wrist, quickly enlarged his body and swung his divine flood dragon tail. The Su family's seemingly tall and sturdy courtyard walls collapsed one after another like paper with a loud bang. After Rise finished all of this, he transformed back and wrapped himself around Leng Ruox's wrist again. He didn't forget to rub against her coquettishly, looking like he was trying to please her. Well done. Leng Ruoxue praised generously. Who dares to come to the Su family to cause trouble? A furious roar sounded from the Su family residence just as Leng Ruoxue finished speaking. Swish! 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 Immediately after, several figures appeared in front of Leng Ruoxue and the others. Subsequently, the other people of the Su family also appeared one after another. Who are you? How dare you come to our Su family to cause trouble? The middle-aged man leading the group questioned angrily. Especially when he saw the sturdy courtyard wall of his house collapsed into a pile like mud, he became even angrier, and his anger surged to his head. We wouldn't have if you aren't the Su family. Leng Ruoxue said indifferently as her beautiful eyes drifted to the middle-aged man who spoke. This middle-aged man looked to be about 50 years old, and his facial features were fairly handsome. He had thick eyebrows and big eyes, and there was a hint of viciousness in his eyes. He was tall and strong, and he was an advanced spiritual sovereign. Leng Ruoxue knew that if she was not mistaken, this person should be the acting patriarch of the Su family, Su Qian. After hearing Leng Ruoxue's words, the reactions of the two parties were completely different. On the old man's side, there were several with a few black lines hanging on their foreheads. And most of them were thinking, this girl is really arrogant. As for the Su family, they were so angry that they almost vomited blood. These people actually deliberately came to cause trouble. They really don't want their lives anymore. You damn girl! State your name if you dare. Su Qian roared with a dark face. His vicious eyes released a perverted gaze as he looked up and down Leng Ruoxue lustfully. Chapter 181, Freak revealing his might, 1, I'll deal with these people later. As for this unbelievably beautiful woman, I'll leave her to warm my bed. I'll let her know the consequences of provoking me. Leng Ruoxue. Leng Ruoxue's clear voice sounded in the dark night. When she told him her name, she successfully saw the change in Su Qian's expression just as she wished. So you are Leng Ruoxue, Su Qian said calmly on the surface, but he was surprised on the inside. He had long heard that Leng Ruoxue was a stunning beauty. And seeing her today, it was indeed true. But what surprised him even more was that Leng Ruoxue actually came knocking on his door. Were my plans with the Shui and Yi families exposed? No, that's impossible. We carried out this matter very secretly, and the Shui and Yi families would definitely not betray me. Then, what is the source of Leng Ruoxue's information? Su Qian kept thinking about it as his gloomy eyes examined the people around Leng Ruoxue. He didn't recognize any of them, and even Ling Qingtian was not among them. He was immediately relieved. Are you Su Qian? Leng Ruoxue addressed him directly by name. How dare you call the patriarch by his name? A dog beside Su Qian barked first before he could say anything. Impudent! How can you be so rude to Miss Leng? Su Qian's eyes widened as he scolded the dog beside him. With Leng Ruoxue's status, it was a pity to be just a bed-warming beauty, so he immediately changed his mind and started treating her with respect. Miss Leng, I am Su Qian. Sorry for being rude. After reprimanding his subordinate, Su Qian immediately turned his head with a big smile on his face and spoke to Leng Ruoxue amiably, giving her enough face. Since acting patriarch Su is so polite, I am embarrassed to make the first move. Why don't you make the first move? Leng Ruoxue said softly. Her beautiful smile hung on her drop-dead gorgeous face, and the Su family members opposite instantly fell into a daze. I have always been polite. What is the meaning of this, Miss Leng? After a long while, Su Qian returned to his senses and spoke with displeasure. But the amazement in his eyes was obvious, and he didn't hide it at all. Didn't acting patriarch Su want to get rid of me? I'm knocking on your door now, Leng Ruoxue explained very kindly. She was such a kind child. She knew that someone wanted to kill her, but she actually took the initiative to come knocking on his door. How is this possible? I have no grudges with Miss Leng. Who is it? How dare they frame me like this? Su Qian roared with a face full of anger. He originally wanted to kill Leng Ruoxue, but after seeing her in person, he couldn't bear to. It would be a pity to kill such a drop-dead beauty. He, Su Qian, had always been protective of the fairer sex. Your ally told me, Len Ruoxue said evilly without changing expression. They were not united anyway, so she would get these dogs to bite at each other. Hee, Miss Len really likes to joke, Su Qian said with a smile, seeming very good-tempered. But in his heart, he kept thinking, who betrayed me? The Shui family or the Yi family? Alas! I told you the truth, but you don't believe me, Len Ruoxue said helplessly. Why doesn't Su Qian believe me? Didn't everyone say that he's paranoid? Shuer, why are you wasting your breath on him? Just kill him. Freak said furiously. This old pervert actually dares to have ideas about Shuer. He really doesn't know life from death. Who are you? Su Qian narrowed his dark eyes and questioned coldly. As the saying went, like repels like. Su Qian naturally didn't have a good impression of such a stunning male, and his tone was even more impossible to be good. I am Shuer's fiancé, Freak said proudly as he pulled Len Ruoxue into his arms to show his ownership. Fiancé? I'll duel with this fiancé then. Su Qian's anger was mixed with raging flames of jealousy while looking at the couple leaning against each other. He directly raised his large hand and attacked Yi Chen. The wind in his palm contained light blue spiritual power, and the cold air was intimidating. Frosty palm. Ling Qingtian couldn't help exclaiming. This should be the Su family's unique frosty palm. This palm technique unleashed a water element spiritual skill, and it was extremely sinister. Once the wind from the palm hit someone, they would immediately be frozen into ice. The Bodis-een and the cold would intertwine, and the frost poison would linger in their body. It was somewhat similar to Charm's ice attribute spiritual skill, only more sinister and vicious. There were many ways for spiritualists in this world to unleash spiritual skills. Most of them liked to use weapons such as knives and swords. But spiritualists who released spiritual skills through weapons also needed to master certain saber skills, sword skills, and so on. A very small number of powerhouses liked to use their palms to release spiritual skills without relying on any weapons. But this also required mastery of palm techniques to increase the power of spiritual skills. The Su family was a family famous for their palm techniques. After seeing Su Qian's frosty palm, Yi Chen calmly pushed Shuer to a safe spot by the side and directly faced the powerful palm wind heading straight for him. What spiritual skill is this? The old man watching the battle said in surprise. During the battle, Yi Chen released a ball of black spiritual power. That ball of spiritual power directly entangled with the water attribute spiritual power in the palm wind, and the two intertwined. After a few minutes, Yi Chen's black spiritual power swallowed Su Qian's spiritual power. And then, as if it was full, it returned to its master's side contentedly. I don't know. Ling Qingtian shook his head with a puzzled expression. He had never seen or heard of the spiritual skill that Yi Chen used. But this spiritual skill was not ordinary. So far, Ling Qingtian had yet to see anything that this spiritual skill couldn't swallow. Where's my spiritual power? Su Qian asked in disbelief while staring at Yi Chen as though he was a monster. I ate it. Give me some more. I'm not full yet, Yi Chen said lightly with a mesmerizing smile on his face. He was really infuriating. You are too presumptuous. I will make you regret it. Su Qian roared furiously. He gathered more spiritual power in his palm, and his entire palm turned dark blue. He swept his palm at Yi Chen with an even stronger wind, and the spiritual power in his palm wind was nearly 10 times more than before. Even the surrounding trees and buildings were covered in a thin layer of ice because of this fierce wind. Chapter 182, Freak revealing his might. 2. Freak, be careful. Len Ruoxue said worriedly. She could still feel the chill even though she was far away. Some of the Su family's spiritualists with low cultivation levels fainted from the cold. Yes, I will be careful, Freak said happily and did not forget to wink at Shuer with a smug expression on his face. Hee, I knew that Shuer cared about me. So happy. But his smug expression deeply provoked Su Qian. Su Qian furiously struck out several times. A massive amount of light blue spiritual power that had turned dark blue rushed at Yi Chen one after another. First Elder, does the Patriarch want to die? A Su family elder watching the battle couldn't help asking softly. How could the water attribute heavenly spiritual skill Earthshaker be used in such a way? Heavenly spiritual skills had extremely high requirements for spiritual power. And heavenly spiritual skills at the level of Earthshaker could only be used as a sure kill move. This method, recklessly used, would likely exhaust your spiritual power even if you won the battle in the end, and you might even be unable to use spiritual power for the rest of your life. The first elder of the Su family had been watching the battle silently, but he was panicking in his heart. Now that the acting patriarch had lost his reason from being provoked, no one would be able to dissuade him at all. Moreover, these people had ill intentions. Today could be said to be the Su family's calamity. Fortunately, he had foresight and had already sent people to invite the patriarch over. He believed that as long as the patriarch came, the crisis of the Su family would be resolved. Therefore, he had long stopped caring about Su Qian and pinned all his hopes on the patriarch. After all, the Su family had no lack of descendants. Yi Chen saw several groups of dark blue spiritual power converge and fly toward him at the same time. He casually released the same number of black spiritual power, each of which automatically sought out their opponents and attacked separately. Yi Chen smiled faintly as he looked at Su Qian, who had lost his reason due to jealousy. His hand released a black blade beam that flew towards Su Qian at lightning speed. Bang! Su Qian collapsed to the ground and died. At the same time, Su Qian's water attribute spiritual power was completely devoured. Patriarch! Patriarch! You killed our patriarch. Well, fight you to the death. Fight! Don't let them go. When everyone in the Su family saw Su Qian's death, they were collectively angry. Their acting patriarch was killed outside their house. It was absolutely a great humiliation. Come at me together. Yi Chen's eyes glittered as he looked at the Su family. Brothers, let's attack together and avenge the patriarch, someone in the crowd shouted, instantly arousing everyone's fighting spirit. Right, let's attack together. Don't let him go. Take revenge for the patriarch. The Su family swarmed forward and surrounded Yi Chen, planning to gang up on him. Little girl. Should we help? The old man asked pretentiously. Every human or beast with this girl was abnormal, so he wasn't worried about that boy at all. He can handle these small fries by himself. Leng Ruoxue said calmly. Oh, then I'll just watch the excitement, the old man said with a smile, looking like he was watching a good show. In fact, his hands were a little itchy. Who knew when that big fish would come out? His younger fish were all going to die. Alas, young people nowadays are really abnormal. In the blink of an eye, the old man found that more than half of the Su family members had died, and he didn't even see how the freakishly handsome man did it. Am I really that old? Is my vision lacking? Thinking of this possibility, the old man was depressed. Bang! 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 In less than 10 minutes, the people from the Su family collapsed onto the ground one after another and died. You! Why didn't you do anything? Where are the men in black from your Su family? Yi Chen asked arrogantly while pointing at the Su family's only breathing elder. Why you? The first elder of the Su family was a peak spiritual sovereign, but he was still scared stiff by the vicious Yi Chen. He was trembling all over and even stammered when he spoke. Me? What about me? Hurry up and get the rest of your Su family to come out. Yi Chen said with a fighting spirit. He hadn't fought so refreshingly in a long time. Who dares to be so brazen in my Su family? A loud, domineering, and extremely dignified voice resounded in Yi Chen's ears. That old thing is finally out, the old man said happily, almost dancing with joy. He had been waiting for this old thing. Patriarch. Upon hearing the voice of the Su family's patriarch, the first elder cried with excitement as he yelled into the sky. Su Biao, what happened? Dozens of figures appeared simultaneously. Leading them was a black-clothed old man with white hair. He had an ordinary appearance, and his face was covered with the wrinkles of time. His small eyes were bright and full of life, and they emitted a ruthless and scheming glow. His bright eyes were looking at Yi Chen, Len Ruoxue, and the others constantly. Who are you? Did you kill the people of my Su family? Su Xing, the patriarch of the Su family, shouted coldly, his eyes releasing intense killing intent. He was even more furious when he saw the large number of people lying on the ground already dead. His lungs almost exploded from anger. Patriarch, the woman leading them is Len Ruoxue, the Su family's first elder said hurriedly. Len Ruoxue. Su Xing's murderous gaze turned around, and then he stared at the only woman present as if he was staring at prey. It has nothing to do with her. I killed them. I am Yi Chen, a member of the Yi family. Yi Chen said evilly. From the Yi family? You. Die. Su Xing roared furiously and directly attacked Yi Chen. Brat, move aside. Leave this old thing to me. The old man roared and impatiently jumped into the middle of the battlefield to fight with Su Xing. Chapter 183, Freak revealing his might. 3. Seeing how eager the old man was, Yi Chen didn't fight with him. He withdrew from the battle consciously and stood beside Shuer to watch the fight. The battle between two spiritual supremacies was indeed exquisite and exciting. Colorful spiritual power danced in the night sky, and various spiritual skills were thrown out like flowing water. Grandpa, shall we deal with those men in black? Len Ruoxue's beautiful eyes locked on to the men in black brought by Su Xing. These people were more than a little stronger than the Su family members just now. There were even a few spiritual supremacies among them. Although they were only at the elementary stage, they had to be eliminated early to prevent any unexpected mishaps. Okay. Len Qingtian nodded and charged toward the nearest man in black. Len Ruoxue, Freak, and the others also immediately joined the battle. With the combined efforts of the three people and numerous beasts, Su Xing's men in black and the first elder of the Su family soon went on their way to see the gods. While fighting with the old man, Su Xing unintentionally turned his head and found that all his people were dead. He was so angry that he directly spurted out a mouthful of blood. Old thing, you are too disgusting, the old man said with a face full of disdain as he jumped slightly to avoid the blood Su Xing spat out. Ha, this old thing's ability to bear surprises is too weak. He can't even bear this little stimulation. Fortunately, the old man said this in his head, and Su Xing couldn't hear it. Otherwise, Su Xing would die of anger. Was his ability to bear surprises weak? These people were the fruits of his hard labor of more than a decade. But they were gone just like that. Ha, ha. You destroyed my Su family. I, Su Xing, will not let you go even if I become a ghost. Wait for me. I will come back for you. Su Xing saw that the situation was hopeless and was unwilling to continue fighting. After laughing hysterically, a thick cloud of smoke enveloped Su Xing. After the smoke dissipated, Su Xing had disappeared without a trace. Oh no! He escaped. The old man felt that something was amiss and beat his chest and stamped his feet in frustration. Su Xing was a vengeful and cruel person. If he escaped, there would be no end of trouble in the future. What skill is that? Len Ruoxue was surprised. She didn't expect Su Xing to escape in front of so many people. That's not a skill. If I'm not mistaken, it should be a long-lost teleportation scroll. I really didn't expect Su Xing to have this thing in his hand. Alas! I miscalculated. The old man was really regretful. If he had directly used his sure-kill move just now, Su Xing would definitely not have escaped. Quill, can you find Su Xing? Len Ruoxue asked Quill, who had been flying in the air. Quill could see through objects within a radius of 10,000 meters. No, Master, Quill answered after scanning the area. Old man, where does that scroll usually go? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. Not sure. That kind of scroll is divided into directional or random teleportation. No one knows where it will lead except the user, the old man explained. He still regretted it even now. Old man, calm down. He's already run away. Even if you regret it so much, can you change this fact? Leng Ruoxue comforted. Ah. That's true. Even though the old man said this, he wasn't as open-minded as Leng Ruoxue and was still conflicted. Old man, don't worry. Su Xing doesn't know your identity. Even if he wants to take revenge, he will look for Shuer and me. He won't look for you. Yichen also spoke to console him. Before Shuer came, she had given this old man and her grandfather an appearance-changing pill. So as long as this old man didn't say anything, no one would know at all that he had a part in the Su family's affairs. You stinky brat. Am I the kind of person who's afraid of death? I'm just worried that we're in the open, and the enemy is in the dark. I'm afraid that he will use shady tricks on us, the old man explained angrily. Forget it. He's escaped. The most important thing now is to find him as soon as possible. Otherwise, none of us will be able to sleep well, Ling Qingtian said. Shuer and the others might not understand Su Xing, but he knew very well that this fellow was indeed big trouble. Master, everything is ready. At this moment, Rise and Dazzle, who had entered the Su family's main residence to clean up the battlefield and loot, ran back to Leng Ruoxue's side and spoke with a face as though they were presenting treasures. Several storage rings were hanging on each of the two little beasts' mouths and paws. Good. Leng Ruoxue touched the two beasts and put away all the rings unceremoniously. Little girl, these two beasts of yours are pretty good at this kind of business, the old man said with a look of envy. How can my beasts be so stupid? They haven't returned after so long. Of course. Take a look at whose beasts they are, Leng Ruoxue said with a face full of pride. As her beasts, they had to be flexible, play dumb when they should play dumb, be cute when they should be cute, be ruthless when they should be ruthless, and be black-hearted when they should be black-hearted. Of course, they absolutely couldn't be soft-hearted when they should be robbing. Alas. There was nothing she could do. She had many family members and beasts. Her whole family needed her support. Leng Qingtian coughed lightly and said very seriously, Shuer, let's keep a low profile. Yes, Grandpa. Leng Ruoxue nodded vigorously. About an hour later. Before they arrived at the Su family residence, the old man had sent his beasts to rob the Su family's shops. They finally completed the mission and returned triumphantly. The old man took the storage rings his beasts handed over and sent his divine sense into them. After he took a look, his satisfied face bloomed into a smile. Little girl, the matter here is resolved. Let's return to Phoenix City early, the old man said impatiently. This money was child's play for the upcoming expansion of the Eastern Lagoon Empire. Okay, let's go back. Leng Ruoxue also wanted to go back early. But before she left, she added fuel to the fire in the Su family's main residence. After that, the group returned to Phoenix City in a grandiose manner. Immediately after, the news of 3 imperial families and 3 great families being attacked and robbed by spirit beasts spread like wildfire across the entire Ling Feng continent. Right after that, there was a massive reshuffling on the Ling Feng continent. The Western Light Empire, the Northern Frost Empire, and the Central Universe Empire were leaderless, and there was serious internal strife. The allied forces of the Eastern Lagoon Empire and the Southern Dusk Empire, which had been waiting for the right time, combined forces to attack, and they divided the territories of the other 3 countries. Chapter 184, Freak revealing his might. 4. After the Su, Shui, and Yi families disappeared overnight, the Hu family took advantage of the situation and occupied all the shops and businesses of the 3 families. However, the Feng family, which was also a top family, didn't do anything, making people puzzled. The main residence of the Feng family. First elder, someone came to ask me why we didn't take the opportunity to devour the shops of the three great families like the Hu family did, an elder said helplessly in the meeting room. During this period of time, people asked him this question every day. How did you reply? The first elder of the Feng family said indifferently with his eyes half closed. I said, our Feng family is short on manpower, and there are too many things to take care of in our businesses, the elder replied seriously. Good. When anyone asks about this in the future, all of you will say so. The first elder finalized a unified statement. Those three great families are basically empty shells. What's the use of them? Moreover, Su Xing's whereabouts are still unknown. At this time, whoever takes the lead will become Su Xing's first target for revenge. In the garden of General Ling's mansion. Shuer, what are you thinking about? Freak asked curiously. Shuer had been preoccupied with her thoughts for the past few days. I'm thinking about Su Xing, Leng Ruoxue said lightly as she leaned against him. Why are you thinking about that old thing? Don't think about him. You can only think about me. Freak said with a displeased face. An old bastard actually dares to let Shuer think about him. He's really courting death. What nonsense are you spouting? I'm thinking about where Su Xing is hiding. The Ling Feng continent is so big that it's really not easy to find someone. Thinking of this, Leng Ruoxue felt a little depressed. She had already released the news that whoever found Su Xing's traces would be heavily rewarded, but there had been no news of him until now. Moreover, for some reason, her heart had been feeling a little unsettled recently, as if something was about to happen. She didn't like this feeling, so it was better to find Su Xing as soon as possible. This way, everyone could be at ease. Shuer, this kind of thing can't be rushed. Didn't we already entrust Hell and the Mercenary Union to find his whereabouts? Freak comforted. He didn't want Shuer to worry over such a trivial matter. I wonder if Hell can find him, Leng Ruoxue said with uncertainty. Hell was a mysterious intelligence organization that had appeared out of thin air on the Ling Feng continent more than a decade ago. It specialized in selling all sorts of intelligence and claimed that there are things only you can't think of, there's nothing we don't know. But it had been so many days, and there was no news from Hell at all. She didn't know if this counted as ruining its own reputation. If even Hell can't find him, then others won't be able to either, Freak said very firmly. Then let's wait. I hope they won't disappoint me. Shuer, the patriarch and the first elder Hu family are here. While Leng Ruoxue was chatting with Freak, Leng Ruhan walked in from outside the garden to their side. What are they doing here? Leng Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. They didn't have much of a relationship. I don't know. They refused to tell me, Leng Ruhan said helplessly. He understood Shuer's temper very well. He knew that the Hu family had already offended his precious sister, so Shuer didn't want to meet them at all. But their grandfather wanted him to come, so he had to come. Freak, let's go to the palace to see big sister Mo. Leng Ruoxue turned to Freak and suggested. She was not in the mood to see the Hu family now. She had even turned away Hu Qing, let alone others. Okay. Freak nodded in agreement. Quill, take us to the palace. Leng Ruoxue let Quill out. Then she and Freak jumped onto Quill's back. Yes, master, Quill replied. He flapped his wings and soared into the sky. With a whoosh, he instantly transformed into a small black dot. Looking at his willful baby sister, Leng Ruhan shook his head helplessly and left the garden to report to his grandfather. In a side palace of the Eastern Lagoon Empire's Imperial Palace. Little girl, why do you have time to see this old man today? The old man, who was tending to the flowers and plants with his head lowered, asked curiously. The Hu family came to my house, so I had to hide, Leng Ruoxue said bluntly while sitting on a stone bench by the garden and leaning against Freak. She originally wanted to go to Big Sister Mo's place, but Li Yuan was there. She didn't want to be a third wheel, so she had to come to the old man's place. So my place has become your refuge? The old man glared at her with slight displeasure. This girl is really infuriating. She's finally come to see me, but she didn't come specially to coax me. The old man complained in his head. Not every place can become my refuge, Len Ruoxue said lightly while looking at the old man who liked to throw tantrums. Well, that's true, the old man agreed. By the way, little girl, is there any news about that old thing Su Xing? The old man continued asking. But he didn't stop what he was doing as he carefully and cautiously moved his beloved flowers and plants to another place to replant them. Not yet. Ask Li Yuan and the others to keep a low profile so as not to attract trouble, Len Ruoxue reminded. With the Huo family making such a big fuss, they would definitely not be able to escape when Su Xing came for revenge. After all, one was in the open, while the other was in the dark. It would be too easy for Su Xing to take revenge. Don't worry. I told them long ago. The old man was still very assured about Li Yuan, a more sensible descendant. This was also the main reason why he didn't stop Len Ruoxue and the others from usurping the throne. Old man, well, be going first. Be careful. Len Ruoxue looked at the sky and felt that it was about time, so she stood up and prepared to leave. Go. The old man waved at the two people who had already sat on the black eagle. Then he lowered his head and continued with his work. After a short while, Len Ruoxue and Freak returned to the general's mansion. When she got down from Quill's back, she happened to meet the steward. Steward, has the Huo family left? Len Ruoxue asked. They left a long time ago. Miss, why did you only return now? Old master was so worried. The steward kept nagging. Chapter 185, Freak revealing his might, 5, got it. Let's go see Grandpa. Len Ruoxue interrupted the steward's chatter. 2 drops of cold sweat hung on her forehead. This old man is really able to talk more and more. Len Ruoxue and Freak went to Len Qingshan's study and called out from outside the door, Grandpa. Shuer, come in. Len Qingtian said from the study. Shuer, why did you come back so late? Len Qingtian asked worriedly. Now was a critical period, and Su Xing had not been found yet. He didn't want his precious granddaughter to be in danger. I had a chat with the old man after I went to the palace, Len Ruoxue said honestly. She was like an obedient child in front of Len Qingtian and couldn't ignore her grandfather's concern. After all, only her relatives in the world would know her strength and still worry about her safety, so her heart was full of gratitude. Shuer, is that old man okay? Len Qingtian asked with concern. They hadn't seen each other since they returned to Phoenix City. Pretty good. I'm just a little worried about Su Xing, Len Ruoxue said honestly. She had already suggested that the old man move his descendants to a safe place. He would probably start making arrangements in 2 days. This way, even if Su Xing appeared, he wouldn't have to worry about the safety of his descendants. Shuer, have the people in the general's mansion been moved away? Len Qingtian asked. The servants in the general's mansion had followed him for many years. He would feel heartbroken if they were injured because of his negligence. Okay. I'll send someone to notify the Feng family and the Southern Dusk Empire, as well as Grandpa Lin. Len Ruoxue frowned slightly as she thought about it. Send them all away in one shot. It would save them time from being distracted. No need. I'll go notify old Lin. Len Qingtian stood up from his chair. This matter shouldn't be delayed. Then I'll go to the Feng family and the Southern Dusk Empire, Len Ruoxue said after some thought. After discussing it, Len Ruoxue and Len Qingtian split up. In a secret room in the Feng family's main residence. First Elder, you were looking for me. Feng Miao, dressed in white, walked into the secret room and looked at the First Elder in puzzlement. What happened? Take this. Leave the Feng family with those 100 children in a few days. The first elder's expression was a little grim as he directly handed Feng Miao a storage ring. Why? What do you mean, first elder? Feng Miao's handsome face showed a confused expression. Were they expelled from the Feng family? We haven't found Su Xing yet. Go out and hide first, the first elder explained. These children were the Feng family's future hope, and nothing could happen to them. First elder, isn't Su Xing the only one left in the Su family? There are so many of us. Before Feng Miao could finish, the first elder interrupted him. You can't be too careful. I can't risk the future of the Feng family. Moreover, the Su family is so ambitious, so who knows if Su Xing has other hidden forces, the first elder said worriedly. Then what should we do? Feng Miao asked worriedly. If the first elder's concern became a reality, then wouldn't the remaining Feng family members? The Feng family's future is the most important, the first elder said somewhat ruthlessly. I know what to do. Feng Miao's handsome face had a hint of sadness. He didn't even know if he would have the chance to return here in the future. Protect them well, the first elder reminded worriedly. Feng Miao nodded, his eyes slightly moist. A week later, Leng Ruoxue and Freak moved the selected people to a safe place and returned to the deserted general's mansion. In Leng Qingshan's study. Shuer, will Feng De and the others suddenly return? Leng Qingtian asked worriedly. Shuer had sent these people away to do mercenary missions and train. No. How could they come back so easily with Big Brother Feng and Feng De around? Leng Ruoxue had given them a task before they left. No one was allowed to return unless she allowed them to, or everyone advanced to spiritual sovereign. What about Guiyong and Guochang? Leng Qingtian felt a headache when he mentioned the two brothers. He had said all sorts of harsh words, but they refused to leave. Ignore them. They should have means to protect themselves. Leng Ruoxue didn't know what to do with them. They probably regarded their general's mansion as an inn. Shuer, you know them best. They told me not to bother with them as well. Leng Qingtian sighed helplessly. Grandpa, it's getting late. Rest early. Leng Ruoxue left Leng Qingshan's study with Freak and went back to their rooms to sleep. In the distant northern Frost Empire, there were mountains surrounded by tall, lush trees in a remote and perilous mountain range. Su Xing was hiding in a dark, damp cave under one of the mountain peaks. As he hid in the cave, his clothes were tattered, his hair was disheveled, and he looked pathetic. But his ferociousness had not diminished at all. Instead, it became more and more intense, and the killing intent and hatred in his eyes could not be concealed at all. At this moment, Su Xing was sitting by a bonfire, holding a piece of spirit beast meat still dripping with blood. He was gnawing at it fiercely. At this point, he was definitely treating this piece of beast meat as Leng Ruoxue and Yi Chen. Leng Ruoxue, Yi Chen, and the Yi family, I will never let you go. I want you to die with the Su family. Su Xing murmured viciously to himself. The hatred in his eyes was so intense that it would make people tremble with fear. During this half a month, he had been recuperating while hiding like a street rat, and he had never dared to stay in one place for too long. Leng Ruoxue and Yi Chen were the reason for his miserable situation today. Oh right, there's also that unknown old man. Humph. I will definitely not let them off. Thinking of this, Su Xing carefully took out a black pearl from his storage ring. The pearl was about the size of a thumb, dull, and very inconspicuous. But if anyone dared to underestimate the ability of this pearl, they would definitely regret it. Chapter 186, Freak revealing his might. 6. Su Xing took out the pearl and held it in his palm. He looked at it with slight infatuation, as if he was looking at a lover, for a while before returning it to his ring. This pearl was passed down from the ancestors of the Su family and was a very magical item. It was even the reason why the Su family could become one of the 5 great families. Unfortunately, this pearl had a limited number of uses and could only be used 5 times. After so many generations, the Su family had already used it 4 times. Now, there was only one last chance, so he had been hesitating. Su Xing stood up and paced around the cave while thinking about the pros and cons and the future of the Su family. However, he was the only one left in the Su family. Where was there any future? His greatest wish now was revenge. With this in mind, Su Xing steeled himself and took out the black pearl again. He bit his finger and dripped a drop of blood on it. After the pearl absorbed the blood, it instantly released a dazzling light that illuminated the entire cave. After the light faded, the image of a middle-aged man appeared in front of Su Xing. This man was in his 40s with good features, a pair of sharp eyes, and a domineering air of superiority. Su Xing knelt on the ground and said respectfully, "The 20th patriarch of the Su family, Su Xing, greets old patriarch." "Get up." "Su Xing, why did you call me?" the middle-aged man in the image said coldly with an expressionless face. "Old patriarch, our Su family is gone. Please take revenge for our family." Su Xing sobbed with overflowing hatred. "What do you mean?" the man called the old patriarch asked sternly. "The Su family of the Ling Feng continent was destroyed." Su Xing explained the situation with a pained expression. "Who is it? Who is so bold to provoke our Su family?" the Su family's old patriarch roared with a dark face. "It's Leng Ruoxue, Yi Chen, and an unknown old man," Su Xing quickly said. "Did you just say that the people who destroyed our Su family are called Leng Ruoxue and Yi Chen?" the old patriarch asked to confirm. "Yes, they are the masterminds," Su Xing said hatefully. "Is Leng Ruoxue a member of the Leng family?" the old patriarch continued asking. "Yes. Leng Ruoxue is from the Leng family, and Yi Chen is from the Yi family," Su Xing answered honestly. He would never dare to lie to his ancestor even though he was eager to seek revenge. The Leng family. This isn't easy to deal with, the old patriarch muttered to himself. It would be fine if it wasn't the Leng family, but since she was from the Leng family, Old patriarch, you have to uphold justice for us. Su Xing knelt on the ground and kowtowed non-stop. Blood flowed down his forehead, making his already disheveled appearance even more horrifying. "Stop kowtowing. Get up. I'm thinking of a way." The old patriarch said impatiently. "Old patriarch," Su Xing stopped kowtowing but didn't dare to stand up. In front of the old patriarch, he was just an insignificant descendant. If the old patriarch was worried about the Leng family and didn't dare to uphold justice for him, then he had no other choice. So at this moment, he was extremely nervous. If Leng Ruoxue weren't from the Leng family, the old patriarch wanted to say something but stopped himself. His face was full of difficulties. "How did you offend her?" the old patriarch questioned unhappily. "We did it all for the prosperity of the family. Leng Ruoxue has spots for the Creek of Affinity Mystic Realm. In order to obtain the spots, but we didn't expect the Yi family to betray us and leak the news. And then Leng Ruoxue destroyed us." Su Xing's face was full of pain. The Yi family was originally their ally, but they betrayed them in the end. Therefore, he hated the Yi family more than Leng Ruoxue. At this moment, he didn't know that the Yi family had already disappeared from this world. "I see," the old patriarch said after a moment of silence. "Alas! The mystic realm. You really make people love and hate you. Every time you appear, you bring countless hopes to people. But at the same time, you bring disaster to people. Old patriarch, you have to take revenge for us." Su Xing begged. He had no choice but to rely on the old patriarch now. "Revenge? Do you think it's so easy to take revenge? Then why do I have to say so much rubbish to you?" the old patriarch shouted with a stern face. The Su family of the Ling Feng continent was very important to him. Now that it was gone, he was also very distressed. But if he wanted to take revenge, he had to pay an immense price, in addition to being wary of the Leng family. "Old patriarch, actually, according to my guess, the Leng family probably lost contact with the upper realm a long time ago, Su Xing said after some thought. Are you sure? The old patriarch asked anxiously. If so, then there was nothing to fear. It's not just the Leng family. The other 4 great families and the imperial families should also be in the same situation, Su Xing took the opportunity to say. As long as the old patriarch was willing to send people down, the Su family would definitely be able to take revenge. Therefore, he had to convince the old patriarch. Old patriarch, this is a good opportunity. As long as you send people down, our Su family can unite the Ling Feng continent, Su Xing continued to coax. Do you think we can just casually send people down? There's a massive price to pay, the old patriarch reprimanded with a displeased face, but he was slightly tempted in his heart. If the matter was really as his descendants said, then it would really be a good opportunity. Old patriarch, this is absolutely worth it. I promise you won't regret it, Su Xingyu persuaded anxiously. Let me discuss it with the elders. The old patriarch cut off the connection and disappeared. Old patriarch. Su Xing fell to the ground dispiritedly, his hands clenched into fists, feeling resentful and bitter, not even knowing that his fingernails were digging into his flesh. At this time, far away in the general's mansion in the Eastern Lagoon Empire, Leng Ruoxue had become everyone's personal chef. Shuer, what are we having for dinner tonight? Leng Qingtian looked curious as he watched Leng Ruoxue preparing dinner in the kitchen. They had sent the servants in the family away, and now they had to take care of their meals themselves, so Shuer naturally became their dedicated chef. Chapter 187, Come out to your death quickly. 1. Go out and wait. What can I do with so many people here? Leng Ruoxue looked at the expectant faces in front of her and couldn't help but feel a headache. These gluttons only knew how to eat every day. Okay, let's go. Little girl, take your time. We're not in a hurry. The old man quickly coaxed her when he saw that she was angry. Ever since he sent Li Yuan and the others away, he almost regarded the general's mansion as his home. Except for not sleeping here at night, he basically spent the rest of his time here. Old Leng, let's go. Don't affect Ruoxue's mood when she's cooking, Lin Liang said understandingly. TCH. Leng Qingtian and the old man looked at Lin Liang with contempt. He was the one who led the way just now, and now he was pretending to be a good person. Shuer, let me help you. Freak, who had been standing quietly by the side, couldn't help feeling a little heartbroken seeing everyone leave. Boo-hoo. My poor Shuer has actually become the cook of these people. No need. Stay there obediently, Leng Ruoxue said while cutting vegetables. In fact, if she could make those old men temporarily forget about that big trouble Su Xing by using food, it would be worth it even if she had to work a little harder. Okay. Freak was very obedient and stayed by the side like an obedient child. He didn't dare to disturb Shuer and just kept staring at her with his bright and shiny eyes very attentively. Freak, get them in to carry out the dishes. Leng Ruoxue ordered after half an hour. There's no need. We're here. The few old men poked their heads in from the kitchen window with a smile. The old men each carried the 2 dishes out of the kitchen tacitly without Leng Ruoxue's instructions. Leng Ruoxue and Freak followed them to the dining room. Hurry up and eat. Leng Qingtian said after everyone was seated. Leng Qingtian was about to pick up a piece of fish with his chopsticks when 2 people beat him to it. Just as he was going to threaten them, he found that the whole fish was gone. You, Leng Qingtian glared at the old man and Lin Liang, who were gnawing on half the fish each. He was so angry that he couldn't speak. These 2 old fellows are too fast. I was just a little slower, and the whole fish disappeared. This fish is really delicious. After eating the fish, the old man licked his fingers reluctantly inside. Of course it's delicious. Leng Qingtian rolled his eyes at the old man in displeasure. The fish was from the heaven and earth bracelet, and there was none in this world. It would be strange if it wasn't delicious. Grandpa, if you don't eat quickly, the other dishes will be gone, Leng Ruoxue reminded helplessly. Why are they so exaggerated? Every meal is like a world war. Hearing this, Leng Qingtian stopped talking and focused on his favorite dishes. After a satisfying dinner, everyone sat in the garden, enjoying tea and chatting under the moonlight. These days are really good, the old man said with emotion. Of course, the premise was that there was no such big trouble as Su Xing. Old man, shouldn't you be returning to the palace? Leng Ruoxue reminded. It was getting late, but the old man was in no hurry to leave today. How strange. Little girl, are you chasing this old man away? Boo-hoo. Someone actually despises me. I'm really too pitiful, the old man said with a sad face. He even pretended to raise his arm and wipe his tears with his sleeve. We are always being driven away by Junior Aunt. You will get used to it, Guiyong said sympathetically, as if he had found a comrade in arms. You too are quite pitiful, the old man said sympathetically, as if he had found a bosom buddy. Do you regret not having met sooner? Leng Ruoxue asked in bewilderment. These two are really. No, Guiyong and the old man quickly denied and looked at Leng Ruoxue cautiously. Well, that's a pity. I thought you two would be a good match, Leng Ruoxue said with a look of pity and disappointment. Match for what? We're not a match for anything. The two immediately jumped away from each other as if the other was a virus. Match as friends. What else do you think it is? The smile on Leng Ruoxue's beautiful face was so dazzling and touching. Moreover, her face was full of innocence, but her words were so evil that they let people's imaginations run wild. Little girl, you tricked us, the old man complained aggrievedly, as if Leng Ruoxue had done something unforgivable. Junior Aunt, you are too evil. How can you bully your disciple nephew? Guiyong also complained. One word was written in his shrewd black eyes, wronged. Ha, old man, how can you be a match for Ruoxue? Lin Liang gloated, beaming from ear to ear. Brat Lin, how dare you laugh at this old man? Do you want to die? The old man unceremoniously vented his anger on Lin Liang. Humph. He couldn't bear to hit or scold that girl, but Lin Liang? Of course he wouldn't be polite. Humph. You only know how to bully the weak and fear the strong. Lin Liang said disdainfully. But to be honest, if he really fought with this old man, he might not be able to beat him. So what? Bite me, the old man roared provocatively. Continue bickering. I'm going to bed, Leng Ruoxue said softly to the two of them. Then she stood up and left the garden. Freak naturally followed Shuer wherever she went. Alright, stop acting. Shuer is going back to her room. Leng Qingtian looked at the two who were still at daggers drawn. We weren't acting, the two of them said in unison. Then they turned their heads at the same time and ignored each other. Come on, Shuer isn't here. Who are you acting for? Leng Qingtian exposed them, but he was also quite touched. Chapter 188, Come out to your death quickly. 2. These two old men ignored their status and positions to fight like children every day because they were afraid that Shuer would worry about them. In fact, how could they not be worried about Shuer when she was worried about them? Shuer and Yichen were the two people Su Xing hated the most after all. If Su Xing appeared, he would definitely first look for Shuer and Yichen. This was also one of the main reasons why these two old fellows stubbornly stayed in the general's mansion. The other reason was naturally because of the dishes Shuer cooked. Alas! Which corner do you think Su Xing is hiding in? Why isn't there any news after searching for so long? Lin Liang said worriedly. He wouldn't be able to sleep well if he didn't get rid of Su Xing, alas. Probably hiding in a rat hole. That old thing is cunning. How can he be so easy to find? The old man said disdainfully. He hated Su Xing to the core, but he hated himself even more for letting that old thing escape. Old Leng, Don't let Ruoxue and Yichen out of our sight. Su Xing hates them to death now, Lin Liang reminded. After sending some students away, he had given the other students and teachers of the academy a long holiday. Otherwise, he really couldn't leave and stay in the general's mansion all day. Yes, they are Su Xing's main targets now, the old man echoed. Su Xing definitely hated him, but Su Xing didn't know his identity, so he wouldn't find him for the time being. Don't you know that girl's personality? If she wasn't afraid that we would worry, why would she be so obedient and stay at home all day? Leng Qingtian said helplessly. He couldn't do anything about his precious granddaughter. In fact, Leng Qingtian was only half right about why Leng Ruoxue was willing to stay at home. The other half was to watch over them. She didn't want these old men to put themselves in danger just to get rid of Su Xing as soon as possible. Listening Snow Pavilion. Shuer, what do you plan to do? Freak asked curiously while looking at Shuer, who hadn't spoken since returning to her room. Freak, do you think we should continue waiting like this? What if Su Xing never appears? Leng Ruoxue looked up at Freak. She felt that this was too passive. In fact, if she wasn't worried about her grandfather and the rest, she would have used herself as bait to lure Su Xing out. What else can we do? Freak's black diamond-like eyes stared at Leng Ruoxue. Do you think we will lure him out if we go out together? Leng Ruoxue probed. She didn't dare to say that she would go alone, or he would definitely be angry. Shuer, Grandpa and the others won't agree with you doing this. Aren't you the same? Freak said seriously. To him, it was the same no matter when Su Xing appeared. It was not like they were unprepared. Instead, he was afraid that Su Xing wouldn't dare to come. But there has been no news from Hell and the Mercenary Union, Leng Ruoxue said gloomily. She was running out of patience after waiting for so many days. Shuer, Ling Feng continent is so big, it's not easy to find someone who wants to hide. Don't worry. I don't believe he can really hide forever. I think you must be bored staying home all day. Why don't we go out for a walk tomorrow? Freak suggested. Okay, then let's rest early today. Leng Ruoxue also felt that she should go out for a walk. She was going to be bored to death at this rate. Freak nodded. He waited for Shuer to fall asleep before quietly leaving her room. The next day, Leng Ruoxue and Freak finally managed to convince Ling Qingtian and the others and left the general's mansion. People were coming and going on the bustling streets as Leng Ruoxue and Freak walked side by side. What day is it today? There are so many people. Freak said curiously. I don't know. Leng Ruoxue was also a little surprised. Today isn't some festival in this world, right? Freak went up to an old man and asked very politely, Excuse me, sir. Why are there so many people on the streets today? The old man looked at the beautiful immortal-like couple in front of him and was stunned for a while before he recovered and said, Today is the grandest temple fair in the Eastern Lagoon Empire. It's only once a year, so of course there are many people. Young master and miss, you two are really compatible. Go to the temple and ask for a lot. Today's lot is very efficacious. The old man couldn't stay quiet after he started talking and kept rambling on. Okay, thank you, sir. After thanking him, Freak handed the old man an amethyst coin and immediately left with Shuer. Shuer, let's go ask for a sign. Freak said with great interest and looked at Leng Ruoxue expectantly. That's all a lie. How can you believe it? Leng Ruoxue said speechlessly. Let's go, she continued after glancing at him. Seeing Freak's puppy-like expression of anticipation, how could she bear to refuse? She loved small animals the most. After they arrived at the temple, they drew a lot and then went to the reception desk. May I know what the two of you are asking for? Someone who looked like a charlatan asked. Marriage affinity, Freak said without hesitation. Oh, yes. This is a very good lot. Congratulations on your marriage destined by the heavens. Shuer, did you hear that? Ha. I'm so happy. Freak couldn't help shouting. I knew that Schwer could only be mine, and no one could snatch her away. A few drops of cold sweat dripped down Leng Ruoxu's forehead as she rolled her eyes at him. Alas! As a spiritualist, he actually believes these things like an ordinary person. Let's go take a look over there. Leng Ruoxu hurriedly said when she saw that more and more people were watching. Freak nodded and squeezed out of the crowd with Schwer. In a private room in the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Is she Leng Ruoxu? A young man asked the old man by his side while standing by the window and pointing at a stunning beauty not far away. Chapter 189, Come Out to Die Quickly, 3. The man was about 20 years old. He was handsome, had bright and enchanting black eyes, and a good temperament. He was dressed in a black garment with golden borders, and golden dragons were embroidered on both sleeves with golden threads, making him look even more noble and extraordinary. It was as if a god had descended, and people could only look up at him. Grandfather, she is Leng Ruoxu, the enemy of our Su family, the old man, Su Xing, who had been in hiding, quickly replied respectfully. Even though Su Xing had changed his appearance, he still looked like an old man, but even his relatives might not recognize him. I want this Leng Ruoxu. That man can be killed, the young man said expressionlessly. A trace of viciousness flashed across his handsome face, destroying his noble nature. But grandfather, Leng Ruoxu is the enemy of our Su family, Su Xing said unwillingly. If Leng Ruoxu didn't die and even became, what revenge would he have? He would just be depressed to death. The young man narrowed his eyes and said coldly with slight displeasure, How dare you question my words? Leng Ruoxu is your enemy, not my young master's enemy. A middle-aged man walked over. Yes, your grandchild knows. Su Xing suppressed his rage and swallowed his anger. Now, he still had to use these people to take revenge for him. Moreover, he had to count on them to take care of him in the future. So even if he was angry in his heart, he absolutely didn't dare to show it. But it was precisely because he had suffered a lot in front of these so-called ancestors that he hated Leng Ruoxu and Yi Qin even more. I heard that this restaurant originally belonged to the Su family, the middle-aged man asked. Yes, this restaurant was originally called the Spring Wind House and a property of our Su family. But now, it has been taken over by the Hua family, Su Xing said through gritted teeth. The Hua family, I won't let them off either. No matter what they took from our Su family, I will make them spit it out intact. You're really not an ordinary piece of trash. The middle-aged man glanced at Su Xing disdainfully and reprimanded him. Yes, Su Xing is useless. But we were also betrayed by the Yi family. That's why. Su Xing looked at the middle-aged man aggrievedly and stopped talking. Are you sure that the Yi family betrayed you? Didn't the Yi family get destroyed just like the Su family? The middle-aged man said with a look of disbelief. Yi Qin said it himself. It can't be fake. I'm guessing that the Yi family was killed by Leng Ruoxu and the others, Su Xing said, thinking he was smart. The middle-aged man nodded. It was possible. However, Leng Ruoxu was too cruel. Young master, when should we go back? The middle-aged man asked respectfully. What's the hurry? We've only been here for 2 days, the young man said in objection. He didn't want to go back so soon. Young master, when we came, the patriarch ordered us to return as soon as possible, the middle-aged man continued, unwilling to give up. Grandfather, why don't you go back first? We will bring Leng Ruoxu over for you, Su Xing said with a fawning face. This young master would be his greatest backer in the future. He couldn't afford to lose him. You have to be gentle with such a beauty. Don't hurt her, and don't let her lose a strand of hair, the young man said after some thought. Grandfather, don't worry. We will take good care of her, Su Xing quickly promised. But in his heart, he couldn't wait for this grandfather to scram home early. With him around, he really had to serve him like a grandson. Since he would be his backer in the future, then he would wait to serve him well in the future. At least now, he didn't want to be a grandson all day. Let's go back. The young man turned to the middle-aged man. Yes, young master. After sending them out of the inn, Su Xing immediately returned to the private room. Honorable seniors, thank you for your help. Su Xing bowed gratefully. These people were the most important to him now. We're all family. There's no need to be so polite, one of them said. Yes, seniors. May I ask when you intend to take action? Su Xing couldn't help asking. What's the rush? They can't run away. Everyone will be dead except for the woman young master wants, another said. Hee, no rush, no rush. Let's wait for you to have enough rest before we make a move, Su Xing hurriedly echoed to please them. He didn't dare to make these masters unhappy. Su Xing, you are quite sensible. A man in his 30s stood up and patted Su Xing's shoulder. Seniors, I have already arranged your activities for tonight. I guarantee that you will be satisfied, Su Xing said with the demeanor of a lackey, no longer having the demeanor of a former patriarch. Then what are we waiting for? Hurry up and bring us there, someone shouted impatiently. Seniors, let's go. Su Xing bowed and was the last to leave after everyone left. Leng Ruoxue and Freak walked around the streets for half a day and then returned to the general's mansion at noon. Shuer, we would have starved to death if you didn't come back, Ling Qingtian quickly complained when he saw his granddaughter return to the garden. Grandpa, you guys seem to be having a good time playing chess. You don't look like you're going to starve to death. Leng Ruoxue seemed very helpless against her grandfather's coquettish behavior. If you didn't return, there'd be no one to cook for us. If we don't play chess, what can we old men do? The old man stared at Leng Ruoxue. They were people who led pampered lives. Making them cook was harder than killing them. I'm going to cook now, Leng Ruoxue said with self-awareness. After feeding the old men, a day quickly passed. On an afternoon a few days later, Leng Ruoxue and the others were discussing something in Leng Qingshan's study when an arrogant roar sounded from outside. Chapter 190, Come out to die quickly, 4, People of the Leng family, come out to die quickly. Coming. The old man was the first to speak. Everyone exchanged glances and rushed out of the study together. Leng Ruoxue and the others came to the general's mansion's courtyard, but the scene they saw surprised them. Dozens of figures were floating in the sky above the general's mansion. Su Xing was in the middle of everyone and looking down at them arrogantly as if they were dead, while those dozens of people were deliberately releasing their might. All of them were expressionless, and their eyes showed disdain as if they were looking at ants. This is bad. These people are actually spiritual deities. The old man's expression changed as he sent a voice transmission to everyone. Damn it. This Su Xing is really ruthless. He actually found so many spiritual deities to help. Even he felt a little strained under the pressure of these dozens of spiritual deities. Then what should we do now? Lin Liang's face was a little grim. The matter had clearly exceeded the scope of their control. Shuer. Leng Qingtian glanced at Leng Ruoxue. Leng Ruoxue nodded. She understood what her grandfather meant. He wanted her to take them all into the heaven and earth bracelet to prevent unnecessary losses. With this in mind, she secretly contacted Qing Ju. We can't fight them head-on. The only way now is to run. It's better than all of us dying here, the old man said after some thought. It was not wise to use eggs to hit rocks. They were smart people and wouldn't do such a foolish thing. Then run. You guys run first. I'll cover the rear. Lin Liang steeled himself. He was ready to die. What are you trying to show off for? You guys go first. I'll cover your retreat. The old man's words carried the most weight, and he rolled his eyes at Lin Liang, seemingly saying, Are you stronger than me? Who can escape with so many spiritual deities? Ling Qingtian asked in return. The old man and Lin Liang were instantly speechless. Yes, who could escape with so many spiritual deities around? But should they just sit and wait for death like this? That wasn't their style. Since we can't run away, then we'll fight it out with them. Little girl, find an opportunity to run by yourself, the old man said resolutely after thinking about it. Yes. Ruoxue and Yi Chen, you two run when you have the chance. Don't worry about us, Lin Liang echoed. Shut up, you two. Well, listen to Shuer, Ling Qingtian said domineeringly. Ling Ruoxue was a little touched as she listened to the voice transmissions of the three old men. It seemed that she had good insight. At least, other than her grandfather, Grandpa Lin and the old man were not afraid of death. Moreover, they were still willing to risk their lives to help the others retreat first in such a dangerous situation. You had to know that the more dangerous it was, the more it tested a person's heart. Qing Ju, Len Ruoxue called out in her head. Big sister, I'm ready, Qing Ju replied from the heaven and earth bracelet. Len Ruoxue nodded slightly. Then with a thought, she immediately brought everyone present into the heaven and earth bracelet. Huh? Where is this place? The old man and Lin Liang looked at the suddenly changed environment. Obviously, they couldn't adapt for a while. But they clearly felt that the spiritual pressure released by the spiritual deities had all disappeared, and the spiritual energy here was so dense. This is Shuer's space. We are safe now, Ling Qingtian explained. Fortunately, Shuer had this heaven-defying space. Otherwise, they would all be dead meat today. Ruoxue's space. The little girl's space. Lin Liang and the old man spoke in unison, their faces full of surprise and disbelief. In contrast, Yi Chen was much calmer, and he was currently plucking fruit from a tree to eat. Master left it for me, Len Ruoxue explained calmly as she picked a fruit from a tree. Master? Ruoxue, I've never heard that you have a master, Lin Liang said curiously. He's dead, Len Ruoxue said sadly. She would definitely avenge her master if she had the chance. I'm sorry. I didn't know, Lin Liang said, a little embarrassed. Damn it. Why am I so curious? It's okay, Len Ruoxue said lightly. Old man, where did you get that fruit? Lin Liang turned his head and saw the old man holding an unknown fruit the size of 2 adult fists. He was gnawing on it, and the juice of the fruit was flowing down the corner of his mouth. From a tree, of course. The old man pointed at the fruit trees not far away, as if it was obvious. The fruit was really delicious, and there was so much spiritual energy inside that it was scary. Old man, why don't you, Lin Liang was about to say, why don't you know any manners, when he realized that everyone except him was gnawing on a fruit. Hey, brat Lin, relax. We just escaped from death. Don't be so nervous. Since this is the little girl's territory, why should we be polite? The old man didn't treat himself as an outsider at all. Moreover, he adapted quickly and was obviously not too curious. Upon hearing this, Lin Liang was speechless. It had even become his fault. Master, you don't have to be so polite. Leng Ruhan emerged from the purple bamboo house and chuckled. Ruhan, I didn't know you were here. I thought, Lin Liang looked at his beloved disciple with a face full of joy. I've been staying here since you sent everyone away, Leng Ruhan explained. There were Qing Ju and so many cute beasts here, so he didn't feel lonely at all. Ruhan, I thought I would never have the chance to see you again. Lin Liang said excitedly while holding Leng Ruhan's hand. Leng Ruhan and his master were catching up while the others were eating fruits and observing the situation outside. At this time, the general's mansion was in a mess. Su Xing and the others, who had thought victory was in their hands, saw Leng Ruoxue and the others suddenly disappear in the blink of an eye, and they were utterly depressed. Chapter 191, Luring the Enemy into an Urn, 1, Where did they go? Su Xing muttered to himself furiously. He had come excitedly with his helpers, but not only did he not kill a single person, but Len Ruoxue and the others had disappeared instead. He was so depressed. Could they have invisibility sacred artifacts? A spiritual deity guessed. Is that possible? Su Xing couldn't believe it. Why hadn't he heard of sacred artifacts that could turn things invisible? How is that impossible? You're too ignorant, the spiritual deity said disdainfully. The level of this dimension isn't as high as ours, so it's normal that he doesn't know, another spiritual deity interrupted, helping Su Xing out. What should we do now? Su Xing looked at the spiritual deity who spoke up for him with gratitude. Find them. I don't believe they can escape so quickly. Even though there were invisibility sacred artifacts, given the strength of those people, it was almost impossible to leave the general's mansion without alerting them. Okay. A few spiritual deities immediately went to search the general's mansion. Inside the heaven and earth bracelet. Little girl, will they find us? The old man couldn't help asking. It was not that he was afraid of death, but the disparity in their strength would be very disadvantageous to them if they faced them head-on. No, don't worry. Len Ruoxue comforted. Where did Su Xing find so many spiritual deities? Ling Qingtian asked in puzzlement. Yes, isn't there supposed to be no spiritual deities on the Ling Feng continent? Len Ruoxue was also a little puzzled. From what she knew, the strongest humans on the Ling Feng continent now were spiritual supremacies. Spiritual deities seem to have disappeared for 1,000 years. They're not from the Ling Feng continent at all. The old man snorted coldly with contempt. He really didn't expect Su Xing to be able to contact people from the upper realm. This Su family is really a disaster. You mean? Ling Qingtian suddenly understood. Grandpa, what's the matter? Shuer, the reason why there are no spiritual deities on the Ling Feng continent is that the spiritual deities have all gone to another dimension. To put it simply, after becoming a spiritual deity, they will ascend to a higher dimension. These people should have descended from that dimension, Ling Qingtian explained. These things were recorded in the Ling family's genealogy. But if not for the old man's reminder, he really wouldn't have remembered. He had also never told Shuer and Ruhan about these things because they were still young. Can people from higher dimensions descend as they please? Len Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. The Ling Feng continent was not the only space in the universe. She had heard from her master as well, but she remembered that her master had also said that people from higher-level dimensions couldn't enter lower-level dimensions at will. Otherwise, it would cause spatial chaos, and at the same time, they would be obliterated by the heaven and earth laws. Then these people? Of course not. If they could descend casually, then wouldn't the Ling Feng continent be the backyard of those powerhouses? The old man said. Didn't they descend? Little girl, if those people want to come to the Ling Feng continent, they will have to pay a massive price. Moreover, these people are only spiritual deities. Spiritual deities might be the top powerhouses on the Ling Feng continent, but they are only at the bottom of the hierarchy in the upper realm. More importantly, the heaven and earth laws don't allow powerhouses above spiritual deity to enter the Ling Feng continent. Otherwise, why do you think the Su family only sent these spiritual deities down? The old man explained patiently. He believed that no one knew more details than him on the entire Ling Feng continent. Len Ruoxue nodded. Although the Su family had only sent spiritual deities, they were not existences she could deal with at her current stage. When she thought of this, a sense of frustration welled up in her heart. During this time, it had been too smooth sailing for her, and she almost didn't encounter any setbacks. But the appearance of these people woke her up, letting her know that she wasn't omnipotent nor the strongest. But at the same time, these people aroused her intense fighting spirit. Because if she couldn't even defeat these people, then not to mention the strongest enemies she would have to face in the future, she probably wouldn't even be able to protect her loved ones. Through the heaven and earth bracelet, Len Ruoxue's beautiful eyes coldly sized up the spiritual deities wantonly destroying the general's mansion, and she remembered their appearances. As the saying went, it was never too late to seek revenge. She might not be their match now, but it didn't mean that she would never be able to deal with them. How is it? Did you find them? A spiritual deity asked his partner in the general's mansion. There isn't even a fly, a spiritual deity said and cursed non-stop. Seniors, we have to find them. We can't let them run away, Su Xing said anxiously. Of course we have to find them, but we can't find them now, a spiritual deity in black said impatiently. Su Xing, do you have any good ideas? I have an idea. We can't find them, but we can force them out. Su Xing felt that his idea was really too good. How do we force them? A spiritual deity asked. How could they force them when there wasn't even the shadow of a single person in the huge general's mansion? We can use the commoners of Phoenix City to force them to show themselves, Su Xing suggested after some thought. The commoners of Phoenix City aren't related to the general's mansion, so they wouldn't be in their consideration. If it were you, would you come out? Someone said while looking at Su Xing like he was an idiot. Ling Qingtian is a great general after all. I don't dare to say it for others, but he definitely won't leave those ordinary people alone, Su Xing said with great certainty, his face full of confidence. Let's give it a try then, the spiritual deity said in agreement. Afterward, Su Xing led dozens of spiritual deities out of the general's mansion, which they had gained nothing from, gloomily toward the busiest street in Phoenix City. These people are too despicable. Ling Qingtian roared furiously within the bracelet. Old Leng, calm down. Aren't you just doing what they want? Lin Liang walked to Ling Qingshan's side and comforted him. Chapter 192, Luring the Enemy into an Urn, 2, Then what should we do? Ling Qingtian glared at Lin Liang with some displeasure. Su Xing was right that he really cared about the lives of ordinary people. Unfortunately, what Su Xing didn't know was that he, Ling Qingtian, cared more about the safety of his loved ones and friends. Although those people were innocent, he couldn't be so noble as to endanger his family and friends for strangers. He was also selfish. Don't worry. Let's discuss a good plan, the old man said. They really didn't know what Su Xing was thinking. He actually planned to use ordinary people to threaten them. In fact, at their level, how many of them would be soft-hearted? Whose hands were not stained with blood? Moreover, they could even sacrifice relatives if necessary, so what were these commoners? It's definitely not wise to go out to die while knowing that they're threatening us, Ling Ruoxue said after some thought. However, I can go out and lure them away, Ling Ruoxue continued. It was impossible to send her family and friends to their deaths because of strangers. But if the commoners were persecuted because of them, it was also not the outcome they wanted to see. She could leave them in the lurch, but she didn't want anyone to be hurt because of her. She was also very conflicted about this. No way, the few people present said in unison. Even the beasts that slowly surrounded her had disapproval written all over their faces. Master, I won't let you out. The little black fox jumped into Ling Ruoxue's arms coquettishly. Yes, master. It's too dangerous outside. Don't go out, Rai said as he wrapped himself around Ling Ruoxue's wrist. Master, Charm will be worried. Charm also jumped into Ling Ruoxue's arms. The people outside were all spiritual deities of similar strength to them, but they outnumbered them by more than twofold. With such a huge disparity in combat strength, it would be wise to hide and wait for the right opportunity. Master. The word worry was written in Quill's sharp eyes. Don't be so nervous. I'm just going out to lure them away. If there's any danger, it'll come in immediately, Ling Ruoxue explained. She probably wouldn't have such thoughts if not for the heaven and earth bracelet. In that case, well, go out with you, the old man said after some thought. He couldn't let the little girl go out alone. Instead of worrying about her inside, it would be better to go with her. No, you stay inside. If too many people go out, we will become separated. We won't be able to take care of each other then, and it will be easy for problems to arise. Leng Ruoxue denied the old man's idea. Okay, all of you stay inside. I definitely have to go with Shuer, Freak said seriously while chewing on a spirit fruit. Shuer better forget about leaving me behind. You stay inside too. Leng Ruoxue said unquestionably. Shuer, Freak looked at Leng Ruoxue aggrievedly with tears shining in his eyes. Don't play dirty. Leng Ruoxue said without any room for negotiation and immediately left the heaven and earth bracelet. Then Leng Ruoxue summoned Quill. Quill, let's go lure those people away. This is the only thing we can do for the innocent commoners now. Leng Ruoxue sat on Quill's back and patted his giant eagle head gently. Yes, master. Quill nodded happily. He flapped his huge wings as he jumped into the air. He knew that his master wouldn't leave him behind. What's so great about him? Isn't it just a pair of wings? Dazzle said with a face full of envy in the bracelet. Boo-hoo. Why don't I have wings? If I could fly, Master wouldn't have called that stinky bird out. That's right. Actually, I can fly too, but Master has never asked me to fly. She only calls that annoying bird. Rise complained. He also grew a pair of wings after advancing to Divine Beast. But unfortunately, his master had never used him once. Boo-hoo. Master doesn't love me anymore, Charm, who had always been composed and understanding, said with some disappointment. Shuer is mine. Yichen roared furiously as he looked at the beasts wallowing in self-pity. Master is ours, the beasts shouted in unison, unwilling to be outdone. Leng Qingtian and the others had a few black lines on their foreheads as they listened to the conversation between Yichen and the beasts. Alas! The enemies outside were eyeing them, yet they were fighting within. Outside the heaven and earth bracelet, Quill carried Leng Ruoxue and quickly caught up to Su Xing and the others. Su Xing, are you looking for me? Leng Ruoxue stood on Quill's back in midair, facing Su Xing and the others. Humph. A puny little spiritual sovereign actually dares to be so arrogant, Su Xing said disdainfully while looking at Leng Ruoxue with hatred. That's better than exploiting the might of others. Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile, neither irritated nor angry. Leng Ruoxue, you're dead meat. I won't let you go. Su Xing roared in anger, his eyes shooting out raging flames. Really? I really want to know why you won't let me go. Leng Ruoxue deliberately provoked. Su Xing couldn't take it anymore. He was about to rush over and kill Leng Ruoxue when someone stopped him. Young master said that Leng Ruoxue can't be killed, said the person who stopped Su Xing expressionlessly. Senior, don't worry. I won't kill her. I just want to teach her a lesson so that her claws don't hurt Grandpa, Su Xing explained. Don't hurt her face, the man warned coldly before retracting his arm, no longer stopping him. Thank you for granting my wish, Senior. Su Xing bowed gratefully. It seemed like his efforts during this period had finally paid off. Otherwise, why would these people be so easygoing? Leng Ruoxue, take this. Just as Su Xing was about to use his frosty palm, he saw the eagle flying away with Leng Ruoxue. He was so angry. Chase! Someone said. Su Xing and the others released their flying spirit beasts to chase after Leng Ruoxue. Quill, fly slower, Leng Ruoxue said very kindly. These people might be spiritual deities, but it was obvious that they didn't do well in the upper realm. Otherwise, why would their spiritual beasts be inferior to hers? Chapter 193, Luring the Enemy into an Urn, 3, Yes, Master. Quill flapped his wings gently and slowed down. Moreover, he would look back from time to time. If he saw those people catching up, he would increase his speed. Otherwise, he would fly slowly. Hurry! Hurry up! We're about to catch up, Su Xing said anxiously while constantly hitting his spirit beast. They were about to catch up just now, but in the blink of an eye, Leng Ruoxue escaped again. Su Xing was incomparably depressed. Just like that, Su Xing and the others chased after her until they forced her into an uninhabited valley. Leng Ruoxue, let's see where you can run to now. Su Xing laughed arrogantly. His face had a triumphant expression, and his sinister and vicious eyes released a bloodthirsty glare. Who said I was going to run away? Can't you see that I was specially waiting for you? Leng Ruoxue said mockingly while glancing at Su Xing like he was an idiot. Humph. Continue being stubborn. There will be a time when you cry later, Su Xing said nonchalantly. Alas. No one believes the truth. What kind of world is this? Leng Ruoxue said helplessly, but she was communicating with her grandfather and the others in the bracelet. Grandpa, do you have any plans? Leng Ruoxue asked in her head. Sure, there are 11 people outside now, including Su Xing, right? Leng Qingtian asked to confirm. Yes, a bunch of people are missing. I don't know where they went, Leng Ruoxue said. When she stopped Su Xing and the others just now, she found that nearly half the people were gone. Afterward, she lured these people here according to what her grandfather said. Sure, it's a good opportunity for us now that they are not at full strength. As long as we kill them here, we will be safer when we find an opportunity to get rid of the others, Leng Qingtian explained. They wouldn't dare to take this risk if they didn't have so many divine beasts on their side. Okay. Leng Ruoxue also felt that this was a good opportunity. Otherwise, when everyone from Su Xing's side was here, they really wouldn't be their opponents. Leng Ruoxue, die. Su Xing slowly activated his frosty palm, ready to strike at any moment. Do you think you're the only one with help, and I don't? With a thought, Leng Ruoxue released her grandfather and the others, as well as all their beasts. Ha, you cowards are finally willing to show yourselves. Su Xing laughed hysterically when he saw Leng Qingtian and the others appear. He was really afraid that they would never dare to show themselves again. As for the cute and fluffy beasts, he automatically ignored them. You still don't know who the coward is? You only knew how to hide in a mouse hole without help, but you start being cocky when you find help. Be careful. Joy begets sadness, the old man said. It was fine when the old man was silent, but Su Xing was almost angered to death as soon as he spoke. Damn it, you old thing. State your name if you have the guts. Su Xing glared furiously, wanting to skin this old man from God knows where alive. Why are you wasting your breath on him? Do it. Lin Liang was getting impatient. He had never felt so aggrieved in his life. Charm, I'll leave those people to you, Leng Ruoxue said softly as she caressed Charm's soft and fluffy fur. Charm nodded as his luxurious purple eyes scanned the spiritual deities just watching the excitement. He wanted to test the strength of the human spiritual deities. Humans, I want to see whether spiritual deities or us divine beasts are better today, Charm said indifferently. His noble and elegant temperament simply made people feel ashamed of their inferiority. Haha, did we hear you wrong? A palm-sized little fox like you actually dares to call yourself a divine beast? A spiritual deity laughed out loud without giving face after hearing what Charm said. There were not many divine beasts in their world, so he didn't believe at all that this fox could be one. You will regret underestimating your enemy, Charm said calmly. He had decided that this guy would be his opponent. After deciding on his opponent, Charm turned to look at his companions and communicated silently before directly flying at the human spiritual deity who despised him. Leave that ugly short fatty to me, Dazzle said. Then he shook his fluffy little tail and dashed toward his opponent. Then I want that thin monkey. Rise said reluctantly. He had also taken a liking to the short fatty, but a certain other beast beat him to it, so he could only choose another unique one to make do with. I want the one with black hair. Quill chose for a long time. No matter how he looked, he couldn't stand the sight of the man with thick black hair. After all, he was also black and had feathers. Leng Ruoxue listened to the discussions of her beasts. Wow! Must my beasts be so cute? Ruoxue, your beasts have character. Lin Liang praised. Hee, did you just realize it? Leng Qingtian smiled proudly. His granddaughter's beasts were very interesting. Thunder Knight, you should go too. Leng Qingtian turned his head and said to his beast. Yes, master, Thunder Knight replied and then flew out, heading straight for the opponent he chose. You guys go too. Don't embarrass master, the old man and Lin Liang said to their beasts. Yes, master. The two beasts heard their master's words and rushed to their opponents eagerly. The three of us will deal with the remaining spiritual deity. Leave Su Xing to Ruoxue and Yi Chen. Lin Liang said to the old man and Leng Qingtian while looking at the remaining two people. Alright, little girl. I'll leave that old thing to you, the old man shouted while staring at Su Xing. Leng Ruoxue glanced at Su Xing and said indifferently, okay, leave this old bastard to us. Damn girl, I won't let you go. Su Xing roared in anger. He was really pissed off. He was a spiritual supremacy after all, but he was humiliated by a little girl. How could he take this lying down? At this point, he only wanted to kill Leng Ruoxue to vent his anger, and he had long forgotten what the young master had said. Chapter 194, Deliberately Complicating an Issue, Accident, 1. After roaring, Su Xing directly threw out his ready frosty palm at Leng Ruoxue. The strong wind from his palm accompanied by a piercing chill drifted in the valley. While the frosty palm was flying toward her, Leng Ruoxue released her fire attribute spiritual power at the same time. A tremendous amount of fire attribute spiritual power blocked in front of her, forming a wall. Freak also used his black spiritual power to welcome Su Xing's frosty palm without fear. Su Xing had used at least 90% of his spiritual power in this strike, causing the already low temperature in the valley to fall even lower. The people and beasts fighting around them naturally felt the cold, and Leng Ruoxue and Yi Chen felt it even more directly. So cold. Leng Ruoxue, who was in the wind, couldn't help exclaiming. Fortunately, the fire attribute spiritual power she released dispelled part of the coldness. Otherwise, this strike alone could have frozen her into ice. Between him and Charm, I wonder who's better at ice skills. She couldn't help feeling a little curious. Swear, I'll give you some warmth. Freak stretched out his long arms and shielded Leng Ruoxue in his arms, casually taking advantage of her. You adulterous couple. I won't let you go. You're all dead. Su Xing looked at Leng Ruoxue and Yi Chen, who were still flirting and teasing each other in the middle of the battle. He was so angry. Adulterous couple? Freak, is he talking about us? Leng Ruoxue asked with a confused expression. But she didn't delay at all and released her spiritual skills one after another. Feather of the Fire Phoenix. Blazing Tree Silver Flower. Leng Ruoxue threw the spiritual skills out regardless of whether they were single target or group attacks. Whether they were fire, water, or wind spiritual skills, as long as they were offensive ones, she threw them at Su Xing. For a time, colorful spiritual powers flashed dazzlingly in the sky of the entire valley. Opposite them, Su Xing was jumping around in a sorry state, and sparks were flying from his body. All sorts of spiritual powers surrounded him, seemingly teasing him and attacking him from time to time. We are not adulterers. We are legal. Swear, when are you going to give me a title? The freakingly beautiful face was full of anticipation, and his watery black eyes blinked non-stop. While speaking, he didn't stop what he was doing and released a ball of black spiritual power to liven things up after seeing how Su Xing was in such a sorry state and hopping about. With the addition of the ball of black spiritual power, Su Xing seemed to be in an even more pathetic state. The spiritual powers seemed to have discussed it over and switched with each other alternately to attack him. You. What kind of evil spiritual skills are these? Fight me one-on-one if you dare. Su Xing provoked loudly. Freak, he wants us to fight him one-on-one. You shameless old man. You brought so many people to kill us, but you still have the cheek to get us to fight one-on-one? Freak said with a face full of scorn. That's right. You old monster, don't you have any shame? The old man, who was fighting with a spiritual deity, couldn't help interjecting to agree. Freak, let's not play with him anymore. Let's end this quickly. Leng Ruoxue said. Okay. He nodded. A ball of black spiritual power gathered in his palm again. He held the black spiritual power ball and said softly, Go. Destroy him. The spiritual power seemed to understand. It jumped twice slightly, then charged at Su Xing at the speed of light and disappeared into his body. At the same time, Su Xing also unleashed his second and third strikes, attacking Leng Ruoxue and Freak. After 2 consecutive strikes, the temperature in the valley plummeted several degrees lower than before, and a layer of ice even formed over the surrounding mountains. Little girl, kill him quickly. It's so cold, the old man yelled, finding it a little unbearable. Boo-hoo, he was getting old, so he was most afraid of the cold. All right. Freak, move aside. Freak obediently took a few steps back and gave up his spot to Schwer. Leng Ruoxue took out her sharp sword, which gleamed coldly. Su Xing, I'll let you have a taste of my meteor sword technique. Feather of the Fire Phoenix. After Leng Ruoxue integrated Feather of the Fire Phoenix into her sword technique, its power increased several times. A silvery white light with a burning tail feather rapidly flew towards Su Xing. The spiritual phoenix feather circled Su Xing twice, then divided into countless feathers of the same size and began to circle Su Xing. Su Xing dodged left and right. After evading the feather, he didn't even have the chance to show off before he realized that the feather was splitting and becoming more and more numerous. What's going on? Su Xing was instantly dumbfounded. The small phoenix feathers didn't give Su Xing any chance to react and prepare to unleash his fourth strike. Instead, they directly surrounded him from head to toe. In an instant, Su Xing became a fiery man. Aha! A blood-curdling scream resounded from the Human Torch. A few seconds later, the Human Torch fell to the ground. On the other side of the battlefield, the beasts were still engaged in a fierce battle with their enemies. You damn beast! I'm going to kill you, the spiritual deity fighting charm roared in anger. This damn fox actually killed his spirit beast. He wouldn't let it go. You are the beast, a giant fox more than 10 meters tall said calmly. Charm was currently in his strongest combat state, and the human spiritual deity was like a dwarf compared to him. Have a taste of my ice purgatory. Charm said and sent a stream of ice attribute spiritual power toward the spiritual deity. The cold was bone-piercing, and in the blink of an eye, the spiritual deity was frozen into a human-shaped ice sculpture. At this point, the battles of the other beasts were almost over, and only Lin Qingshan's group was still fighting on the battlefield. Master, do you need my help? Thunder Knight said a little worriedly while watching the battle. In a fight of the same level, humans wouldn't be able to defeat spirit beasts, so their opponents were almost too weak to withstand a single blow. But their master's opponent was stronger than their masters, so it seemed a little strenuous. Chapter 195, Deliberately Complicating an Issue, Accident, 2, No Need. Ling Qingtian replied. How could they let such a good opportunity slip by? Even though this guy was stronger than them and had an advantage in level, the pressure of a spiritual deity was still bearable for them. While releasing heavenly spiritual skills, Ling Qingtian kept throwing numerous spiritual power recovery pills into his mouth. The old man and Lin Liang did the same. You are despicable. The spiritual deity fighting with them had never seen anyone taking pills like this. He was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. You are the despicable ones. We're just giving you a taste of your own medicine, Lin Liang said nonchalantly. It was good to have an alchemist by their side. Otherwise, who would dare to eat pills this way? Fatal blow, the old man suddenly shouted when he saw that the time was ripe. Okay. Lin Qingtian and Lin Liang were ready at the same time. After receiving the signal from the old man's eyes, they simultaneously launched their strongest attacks. Divine Flame Blade. Wind Blade Slash. Light of Water. Red, green, and light blue spiritual power simultaneously attacked the only living spiritual deity. As soon as the three spiritual powers entered the spiritual deity's body, they began to engage in a relentless battle within his body. Cracking sounds resounded from the spiritual deity's body. The spiritual deity had a pained expression as his face turned red, then green, and finally blue. Aha! The spiritual deity screamed in pain. Immediately afterward, the spiritual deity's body exploded into smithereens with a bang. Ah, we've finally succeeded. It really wasn't easy, the old man said with a face full of emotion. He originally thought they were dead for sure, but things took an unexpected turn. Not only did they not die, but they even killed half of the opponents. How lucky! Yes, it was truly too harrowing. Let's slowly deal with the remaining people when we have the chance. Lin Liang wiped the sweat off his forehead. Fighting with the spiritual deity was really exhausting. Fortunately, they had those pills. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to kill the spiritual deity. Fortunately, those people separated, Lin Qingtian echoed. Little girl, let's clean up the battlefield. Although these spiritual deities seemed poor, they might have some things we can use. The old man took off the storage ring of a spiritual deity and scanned it with his divine sense. His face instantly turned very ugly. What's the matter? Lin Qingtian was puzzled. He took the ring from the old man's hand, glanced at it, and immediately fell silent. These guys were poorer than I imagined, the old man explained as Lin Liang looked at them with a questioning gaze. Then, should we still clean up? Lin Liang asked after a pause. Of course. These are our spoils of war, Lin Qingtian said after some thought. He reckoned that the old man and Lin Liang would follow them in the future. How much would it cost to support so many people? Thinking of this, he couldn't help having a headache. Okay. After hearing what Lin Qingtian said, everyone and the beasts went to clean up the battlefield and destroy the evidence. Seeing that everyone was helping out, Lin Ruoxue began observing the uninhabited valley alone. The valley was about 30 to 40 meters deep, and there was no end to it at a glance. Moreover, it was surrounded by mountains, and the temperature was several degrees lower than outside. Most importantly, the soundproofing here was good, so much so that no sound escaped despite their intense battle just now. This place is really a good place. Shuer, be careful. Ruoxue. Little girl. Master. Lin Ruoxue suddenly heard everyone's voice. She was about to turn around when she saw Su Xing, who was charred all over, rushing toward her like a madman. It turned out that Su Xing had been pretending to be dead and had gathered his remaining spiritual power in his palm when no one was looking, planning to deliver a fatal blow to Lin Ruoxue. Su Xing actually didn't die. Lin Ruoxue was shocked. But before she could react, Su Xing had already attacked her. Suddenly, a tall figure shielded Lin Ruoxue and blocked Su Xing's palm for her. Immediately after, several streams of spiritual power rushed over at the same time and hit Su Xing together. Su Xing's body softened and fell to the ground. This time, he was really dead. Freak! Lin Ruoxue screamed in fear as she hugged Freak, who was falling non-stop. Sparkling tears poured out of her eyes uncontrollably, and her heart suddenly felt empty, as though she had lost something important. Shuer, my Shuer, don't cry. Don't cry. It'll be fine. Freak wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and comforted her. Shuer was crying for him. He was so happy, but his heart ached too. Yes. You will be fine. I won't allow anything to happen to you. Lin Ruoxue said domineeringly while hugging Freak tightly. Swear, I'm so cold. Freak whispered. Su Xing's frosty palm was really vicious. He felt as though there was an ice blade cutting his body. Fortunately, it hit him. Otherwise, Swear's tender skin and flesh wouldn't have been able to bear it. I will hold you and won't let you be cold. Leng Ruoxue hugged Freak even more tightly as her tears fell drop by drop like pearls. Let me see. The old man came to their side and frowned. Then he grabbed one of Yi Chen's hands to check. How is it? Leng Qingtian and the others, who were farther away, arrived. The frost poison entering the body is really too poisonous, the old man said softly and shook his head gently. Alas! There was no hope. This was the vicious part of the Su family's frosty palm. After being hit by its frost poison, ice attribute's spiritual power would take the opportunity to enter the body and wreak havoc on the bodhi's functions. Moreover, Su Xing had just used a technique that would cause an internecine outcome, so. After hearing what the old man said, Ling Qingtian, Lin Liang, and the beasts all felt unusually heavy. Alas! It was originally a perfect plan, but who knew that such an accident would happen? This was really. Chapter 196, Deliberately Complicating an Issue, Accident, 3, Freak. Freak! Wake up! Don't leave me! Leng Ruoxue screamed in agony when she saw the unconscious Freak. Her heart felt like it was being stabbed by a knife. Swear, calm down. He's already, Leng Qingtian couldn't continue. He checked Yi Chen's breathing just now, but it was already gone. He only fainted. I will heal him. I won't let him leave me. Leng Ruoxue hugged Freak's body and returned to the heaven and earth bracelet with a thought. Swear, big brother will help you. Leng Ruhan's heart ached when he saw his sister's desperate look. He hurriedly took the freezing Yi Chen from Leng Ruoxue. Thank you, big brother. Please help me carry him into the purple bamboo house. Leng Ruoxue said abnormally calmly. Leng Ruhan nodded. Carrying Yi Chen's cold body, he entered the purple bamboo house and placed him on the jade bed inside. Big brother, thanks. I want to be alone with Freak, Leng Ruoxue said lightly. Okay, then big brother will go out, Leng Ruhan said helplessly. Alas! Swear's current appearance really worried him. In his heart, it was better that Swear cried or threw a tantrum than being so calm. Ruhan, how is Swear? Leng Qingtian asked worriedly after returning to the heaven and earth bracelet. Very bad, Leng Ruhan said honestly. He didn't want to scare his grandfather, but Swear's current condition was really not good. Alas! How did this happen? How did Su Xing survive? Swear's flames are extraordinary. Leng Qingtian was puzzled. I once heard that the Su family seems to have a secret technique that can fake death. Moreover, the Su family primarily uses ice attribute's spiritual power. I think he used ice attribute's spiritual power to freeze himself and then fake death, Lin Liang explained. He actually thought that the Su family's secret technique was a joke when he had heard it. He didn't expect it to really exist. Let's go out and kill the remaining spiritual deities to vent our anger for the little girl, the old man suggested. Alas, he was anxious because he couldn't help. If killing them will bring Yi Chen back to life, it'll go now. Leng Qingtian said furiously. Then what do you suggest we do? The old man frowned aggrievedly. Of course, we have to keep an eye on Swear. What if she can't think things through? Leng Qingtian said worriedly. Even if a knife was hanging over his head, he wouldn't leave his granddaughter now. Inside the purple bamboo house, Leng Ruoxue stood motionlessly by the side of Freak, who was beginning to freeze. Tears kept welling up in her eyes. In fact, she knew very well that he was dead. Freak! Leng Ruoxue couldn't help calling out softly. The situation when she first saw him was still deeply etched in her mind. She remembered the first time she saw him, she had a premonition that this guy was definitely in big trouble, and the fact was that she was right. She had seen many men in her 2 lifetimes, but this was the first time she had seen a person being so coquettish, even though she knew very well that his coquettish behavior was only for her. In front of outsiders, Freak was definitely devious and terrifying. Freak liked to act coquettishly, liked to be jealous, liked to take advantage of her from time to time, liked. All the memories relating to him were still so clear at this moment. It turned out that Freak had already entered her heart unknowingly, but she knew nothing about it. All along, she had thought that she only regarded him as one of her own. But she knew that it wasn't true today. Freak had unknowingly occupied her heart a long time ago. But why? It was only when he left her did she know how important he was to her. Why? Why? It wasn't until she lost him that she realized she loved him. Boo-hoo, at this point, her tears rolled down uncontrollably. Freak, I love you. Ling Ruoxue murmured. But. Freak, you haven't said you love me to me, so you can't leave me like this. I won't allow it. Freak, I will find you no matter where your soul goes. Freak, I'm very overbearing and possessive. Don't even think about leaving me since I've discovered my feelings for you. Freak, you are mine whether you're alive or dead. You can only be mine whether you live or die. Got it? Freak, wait for me obediently. Wait for me to find you. Outside the purple bamboo house. It's been so many days. I wonder what Shuer is doing now. The word worry was written all over Len Qingshan's face as he paced back and forth. Grandpa, big sister is fine. Trust me, Qing Ju quickly comforted. He had always been in control of the situation in the purple bamboo house. Big sister hasn't taken things too hard. It's just, alas. In short, it's still all right. Old Leng, don't worry since Qing Ju said so. Outsiders like us can't help with matters of the heart. Ruoxue can only rely on herself to think things through, Lin Liang said helplessly. Ruoxue alone was enough to make them worry, but Old Leng actually added to the trouble. But it's been 10 days without eating or drinking, Ling Qingtian couldn't help saying. Grandpa, trust Shuer. Leng Ruhan walked to his grandfather's side to console him. Damn old man, all you know is to eat. 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 Ling Qingtian couldn't help cursing when he turned his head and saw the old man gorging himself again. What do you know? It's called turning grief and indignation into appetite, the old man boasted shamelessly. Alas, he was also worried about the little girl. But he couldn't think of a better way, so he could only vent by eating. Quill is back, Qing Ju said suddenly. When the 2 old men saw Quill return, they stopped quarreling and quickly asked, Quill, what's happening outside now? Most of the Ling Feng continent has already been occupied by those spiritual deities. Moreover, the Hua family and the Feng family also suffered heavy casualties, Quill explained. Those people were really too arrogant. They had already eliminated all the forces unwilling to rely on and pledge allegiance to them on the Ling Feng continent. Chapter 197, Deliberately Complicating an Issue, Accident, 4, What about the Eastern Lagoon Empire? There are no countries on the Ling Feng continent anymore. The old man fell silent after hearing what Quill said. Think about it. Those things are just worldly possessions. At least your descendants are still safe now, Ling Qingtian comforted. I know. The old man nodded. Even though he had been prepared for this, he was still a little sad when he heard it. After all, it was the foundation of his Li family. Alas, it's a mess. Lin Liang sighed helplessly. In a commoner house in a remote town in the north of the Ling Feng continent. Feng Moran and others were hiding here. Deputy Leader Feng, what's happening outside? As soon as Feng Moran returned from inquiring about the news, the people waiting anxiously in the house surrounded him. The situation isn't good. Feng Moran's slightly tired face was full of worry. What about my family's old master and young miss? Lu Tao asked worriedly while holding Feng Moran's sleeve tightly. They're missing, and those spiritual deities have been looking for them. But I heard that they haven't been found. I think they should be safe now, Feng Moran quickly consoled. Big brother, how is the Feng family now? Feng Aoran asked anxiously. Gone. Feng Moran said with mixed feelings. Even though the Feng family hadn't treated him well, they were relatives related to him by blood. When he first heard this news, he felt very uncomfortable. Gone, Feng Aoran was stunned for a while. When he recovered, he grabbed Feng Moran's arm tightly and said anxiously, Big brother, you're lying to me, right? The Feng family has the first elder and grandpa. How can they be gone? It's impossible. Impossible. Aoran, those people are spiritual deities, the top existences on the Ling Feng continent. Feng Moran didn't know how to console his brother because he knew that Aoran definitely had deeper feelings for the Feng family than he did. Aoran, calm down. You still have Big brother. I will take care of you, Feng Moran continued. Big brother. Tears streamed down Feng Aoran's face as he threw himself into Feng Moran's arms and cried bitterly. The Anaconda mercenary group is here. Feng De shouted as he ran in from outside. Big brother Feng De, what should we do now? Lu Tao was a little flustered. The Anaconda mercenary group had long sought refuge with the spiritual deities. Moreover, the Anaconda mercenary group knew their identities, so they had been pursuing them relentlessly. Hurry up and find a place to hide. Leave those scumbags to me and Deputy Leader Feng. Feng De hurriedly made arrangements. Their young lady was missing, so he had the duty and responsibility to protect the safety of these people. He couldn't let down their young lad's trust. After hearing what Feng De said, everyone in the yard quickly found a place to hide, lest they drag the two of them down. Feng De, you're quite good at hiding. The voice of Zhang Jian, the young master of the Anaconda mercenary group, sounded from outside the yard. Zhang Jian, you are a dog of the Su family. Why didn't you obediently lick your master's ass but instead come out to stroll around? Feng De said with disdain and mockery. Damn it. Who did you say is a dog? Zhang Jian roared furiously as he walked into the yard. Is there anyone else here besides you? Feng De's shrewd eyes scanned the surroundings, looking for other people. Feng De, you are dead for sure. But I will spare your life if you tell me the whereabouts of Leng Ruoxue and the others, Zhang Jian said in a seemingly magnanimous manner. I don't know. What do you want me to say? Feng De said nonchalantly. Then die. Go, kill them both. Zhang Jian roared and took the lead to attack Feng De while his subordinates attacked Feng Moran. Zhang Jian, is this all you've got? Feng De easily dodged Zhang Jian's attack and attacked with his backhand. He infused his spiritual power into his hand and slashed at Zhang Jian. Zhang Jian was slow to react and was cut. Just you wait. Zhang Jian roared with killing intent in his eyes. Come out, Black Dragon. With Zhang Jian's roar, a huge black python appeared in front of everyone. The python's enormous body stood upright, almost covering the entire yard. His fierce and cold eyes stared at Feng De and Feng Moran. Feng De and Feng Moran smiled at each other in tacit understanding. Fire Dragon, come out and meet this black dragon. Feng De said with eyes full of smiles. Master, I'm here. With that, a gigantic fiery red beast jumped out and occupied the entire sky above the yard. Heavens, what is this? Someone from the Anaconda mercenary group murmured in disbelief. Is this a dragon? A real dragon? Another person said dumbfoundedly. No, that's impossible. No one can contract with a dragon. Zhang Jian was even more unwilling to believe what he was seeing. Feng De was only a captain of their mercenary group in the past. How could he have a dragon as a spirit beast? This was too much of a shock for him. The black python was equally agitated. The arrogance he had when he first emerged immediately faded when he saw the real dragon. Boo-hoo. He was just a snake even though his master called him Black Dragon. You're called Black Dragon? Fire Dragon's large eyes glared at the black python threateningly. Yes, I am Black Dragon, the python named Black Dragon said tremblingly. He no longer had the majestic appearance he had when he first emerged. Stand properly. Why are you swaying? You're a level 8 holy beast, after all. Don't be so useless, okay? Fire Dragon roared with displeasure, looking very much like a big brother lecturing his little brother. Yes. Yes. Black Dragon stood up straight, but he still shook uncontrollably. Boo-hoo. You can't bully a snake like this. Although he was a level 8 holy beast, what was he compared to a divine beast? Especially a dragon, which had the highest status among spirit beasts. Black Dragon, attack. Kill them. Zhang Jian was aggrieved when he saw his spirit beast behaving like an obedient grandson in front of the enemy. What was going on? It wasn't easy for him to obtain a level 8 holy beast. He originally thought that he could show off, but who knew? You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.